Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Lopez. Thanks for joining us here at the News 12 Now desk. We actually are streaming live right now because Vice President Kamala Harris has just landed in Augusta at the airport. We just got right there, I believe. That is the airplane. So we are going to be streaming this for you guys. She's actually here along with Senator Jon Ossoff to tour some of the damage left by Hurricane Helene and to meet with some local officials. So we're streaming that live right here, and we also have the airport traffic cam as well on the bottom right. So I'm not sure if that plane that just landed was her, but we are still taking this live right now. And just again, if you're just not joining us, we're just going to be streaming as Vice President Kamala Harris comes to visit Augusta to tour some of the damage from Hurricane Helene. And we were told that she will be briefed on the recovery efforts once she lands. And then at 4 p.m., the Vice President is going to provide some updates on federal actions that are being taken to support some of these recovery efforts here in Georgia. So yes, that is the landing. We're getting that shot right now. I'm going to see if we can take that in for you a little bit tighter. Again, so we are live at the Augusta airport where Vice President Kamala Harris has just landed to see some of the damage left by Hurricane Helene. If you're just now joining us, that's what we're covering right now. We did have that live when the plane landed, so I just took this in full so we can see what's going on as she unloads. Again, she is going to be joined by U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff to tour some of the damage left by Helene and meet with some other local officials. And we are there, as you can see, live. And also on Thursday, President Joe Biden will visit the state, but we do not know the exact location yet. That has not been disclosed. So around 2:30, I think exactly 2:30, she landed. She arrived at the Augusta Regional Airport, and we were told that when she lands, she will be briefed on recovery efforts. And then again at 4 p.m., the Vice President will provide updates on federal actions that are being taken to support the emergency response and recovery efforts in Georgia and some other states after Helene. We do know that also on Monday, Harris visited the Federal Emergency Management Agency headquarters, and she received a follow-up briefing on the ongoing impacts of Hurricane Helene. But again, today she will have her feet on the ground in Augusta looking at some of the damage. So again, the live shot that you're looking at right now is Vice President Harris landing in Augusta for her visit here. I do think we have some sound as well, so I'm going to take that sound right now. So again, if you're just now joining us, I'm sure you've read the title of the live when you clicked on it, or if not, you can read your screen right now, but we're just streaming Vice President Kamala Harris as she arrives in Augusta at the airport to tour some of the damage left by Helene. So obviously we have that, this is live for you right now. We have our crews at the airport, so we will watch her arrive. And then we do know that she will be briefed on the state of Augusta when she arrives, which is now. So hopefully she will be briefed on that soon. And we do know that at 4 p.m., the Vice President is supposed to be providing some updates on some federal actions that are being taken to support some of the emergency responses in Georgia and in some other states. And then also on Thursday, President Joe Biden will visit the state, but we do not know the exact location for that. So again, I'm just going to take in full again to the landing here so we can get a closer shot of that. Again, this is Vice President Kamala Harris as she visits Augusta along with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff to tour some of the damage left by Hurricane Helene. We have so many people still without power or water in the area. I know here in the city of Augusta, we still continue to be under the boil water advisory. And we do have the city giving out, like we've been covering it over the last couple of days, about the potable water stations and where you can go to maybe get some relief or seek some shelter. So again, she will be providing updates at 4 p.m. on some federal actions that are being taken. So hopefully we can get a better idea on some support coming to the area after that. But again, we do know many people here in the area still experiencing the slow recovery of Hurricane Helene and the damage that it left behind here in the area. So it looks like they are starting to open up the doors to the airplane right now. And I also have no idea how long this will last or how long we will be live for, but obviously as long as we can get some new information out to you guys and get some good visuals for you guys to be able to actually see what's going on, we'll continue to stream this for you guys. So again, a lot of us are still struggling from Hurricane Helene and the after effects of it and the damage and the recovery that lots of people are having to do right now. I mean, me and Nick Croto on Monday were down in even Johnston, and there were people, I mean, hit really hard still without power. And I know that's the story for a lot of residents across the CSRA and possibly even further. So we'll have some boots on the ground here today, and we'll also get that update on some federal actions around 4 p.m. is what we're told. So again, if you're just now joining us, this is Vice President Harris visiting Augusta today with Senator Jon Ossoff to tour some damage left by Hurricane Helene and meet with some local officials. We are there live, and it looks like there's some movement going on right now, some people getting off of the plane. So we're gonna listen in on that for a little bit and see what we can see. These last few days, coming up close to a week now, have been extremely hard for the community, and it's been great to see the ways that the community has been coming together to provide some support and relief and water and food and those kind of necessities that people might need. So we've heard lots of great stories about the community coming together and lots of people with a positive outlook on this. So we'll see what happens today with the updates that she can provide and continue with that, and hopefully she will get briefed on a lot of this damage that spans way farther than the CSRA and is damaging some of those areas farther from Augusta, some of those more off the grid areas. So we'll wait on that statement at 4. Again, I don't really know what to exactly expect once she gets off the plane, but we will be streaming as long as we can, as long as we're getting new information. So we are live there right now. This is our News 12 crew at the Augusta Regional Airport, where she has arrived around 2:30.
Press 1.
So it looks like we're getting some movement. Sorry about the camera. We are live, so we're trying to get you the best shot. So again, what just happened is Vice President Kamala Harris has landed in Augusta to be briefed on a lot of the damage left by Hurricane Helene. So we were told she will be briefed on that once she arrives, and she will kind of tour the area and see a bit of the damage left with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff. So, and then at 4 p.m. she is going to release a statement and provide some updates on some federal actions. It looks like they're being moved a little bit. So I'm going to take us back into here full real quick. Looks like we have a shot in it. She might be exiting the plane. So I'm just going to hone in on this for a second, and we can watch as she So again, if you're just not joining and you're like, what the heck, the Vice President is in Augusta. Yes, Vice President Kamala Harris is joined by U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff to tour damage left by Hurricane Helene. So much damage and so much devastation across the area, and people still being affected today almost a week later. Some without water, some without power, some without both still. And the community's really come together to try and aid some of that and try to give some people some sort of relief during this time. But we will get some updates on federal actions that are being taken to support the emergency response and recovery efforts in Georgia and some other states, and that'll be at 4 p.m. I'm assuming after the Vice President gets a brief and has a tour of some of the areas that have been affected. We do not know exactly which areas she will be going to, but we know that she will be briefed on the damage and the devastation. And then we will be waiting on 4 p.m. update on the federal actions or the announcements from that will be taken to support. So we're just waiting on that. And again, we are live there right now. So this is the shot that you're looking at. Just wanted to give it an update as well. Again, the plane landed around 2:30. I'm not sure the exact time. I think we started the stream up right as the plane had landed. So it was right around 2:30. They said she would land, and I think it was right around that time. We started the stream maybe 2 or 3 minutes after 2:30, and we were told she would be briefed once she landed. We do also know that tomorrow on Thursday, the President, Joe Biden, will also visit the state, but we do not know the exact location of that. We do not know where he will be, but we do know that he will be in the state tomorrow on Thursday. And then at 4 p.m. again, Vice President will provide some updates on some federal actions that will be taken to hopefully assist. So thank you all that are in the stream, that are being patient as we wait on this again. This is live. We are just waiting for the Vice President to step off of the plane. We've had our crew out there for a while now, just waiting on this, so waiting on any sort of movement. And then we also do know that on Monday, Harris visited Federal Emergency Management Agency headquarters, and she received a bit of a follow-up briefing on the impacts of Hurricane Helene. And so hopefully during that briefing and what she sees today, we'll get that update on some federal action being taken. During her remarks at that, she did make it clear that the Biden-Harris administration, quote, will continue to do everything we can to help you recover and to help you rebuild, no matter how long it takes, end quote. And then I do believe today President Joe Biden will hit some storm areas in North Carolina to speak with some first responders and local officials. But again, last Friday, a Category 1 hurricane hit Augusta, and lots of us are still seeing the damages and effects on that. Oh, and here we go. The Vice President is getting out of the plane as we speak, so we'll take into this and listen to this for a little bit. So here she is, landed in Augusta. You see Senator Jon Ossoff, who I believe will be giving her the tour. So again, she should be briefed on the state of Augusta and then give that update at 4 p.m. So this is live at the Augusta Regional Airport, where Vice President Kamala Harris has landed and stepped off the plane to visit Augusta and see some of the damage. And that looks like Augusta Mayor Johnson. plenty of city officials to greet the vice president. Again, it looks like she's exchanging some words with some city leaders right now, but she has just stepped off the plane here in Augusta. Our crew is live there. And again, she is here to tour some of the damage left by Hurricane Helene and meet with local officials. And then at 4 p.m., the vice president is supposed to be providing an update on federal actions being taken in terms of recovery efforts in Georgia and some other states afterwards.
Take your breath, everybody. We're going to be moving back.
And then also bear with us, this is live at the airport right now. So looks like we have some movement from our camera going on, so I'm just going to take myself again. But again, what we just watched was Vice President Kamala Harris arriving in Augusta to tour some of the damage left from Hurricane Helene. So I don't know if we're gonna get a shot back up, but I'm just gonna leave it here just in case while I speak a little bit on this. But at 4 p.m. again, we're supposed to get that update. So I think we might have just lost our shot. I'm gonna take myself just one moment. Oh wait, it's back. Okay. Anyways, again, bear with us. We're live right now, trying to figure out if what's going on. I'm gonna take some sound again real quick. See what's going on. So it looks like we do still have a shot. Looks like our crew is headed out of the area as as Kamala Harris leaves the airport as well, probably to begin her tour to see some of the damage left from Hurricane Helene. So what we just saw was the airplane landing, Kamala Harris arriving, boots on the ground in Augusta to tour some of this damage, along with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff. We just watched her greet some city officials, including Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson. So hopefully, we were told she would be briefed once she arrived. So I'm assuming that briefing is probably happening right now, and that tour will begin. And then at 4 p.m., we will have that update on some federal actions being taken to support the state and other states affected by this tragedy that's taken place here. So again, sorry for maybe the shaky camera. Our crews are there live right now, so obviously they're being directed at the moment, but the cars do seem to be leaving the airport, and this means that I assume her tour will begin here in Augusta with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff, and they're going to be touring some of those areas that left damage due to the hurricane. I don't know exactly what areas she will be touring, but we do know that she is boots on the ground here in Augusta, checking out some of the damage. She was supposed to arrive at 2:30. I believe she did arrive, I think, 2 or 3 minutes after 2:30 at the Augusta Regional Airport, and we did have crews live there. It looks like all of the cars are leaving. I'm going to stick with this live shot just for a little bit longer while we are still there. It looks like all the cars are being escorted out in the same fashion. So again, yes, Vice President Kamala Harris has arrived to visit Augusta for the day, and then at 4 p.m. we could have those updates on some federal actions being taken. So again, forgive maybe the shaky camera or whatever. We have our crews there live, so they're being directed and being transported at the moment. And they've been there. We watched the plane on the stream land at the Augusta Regional Airport. We had a traffic cam of the airport, so we had that as well, and we were able to get that for you guys. So again, I believe our crew is just leaving as Kamala Harris has left the Augusta Regional Airport and probably makes her way to begin the tour and see some of the damage. Again, I was saying that we don't really know exactly where she will be going to see damage, but we know that that is the point of this, and to also meet with some local officials and possibly hear the need and hear what's going on in the area. And we were told she would be briefed on the situation here once she landed, which has obviously happened. So hopefully she'll be briefed, she'll take the tour, she'll see what's going on in the community, in the areas. We don't know exactly where she's going again. And then we do know that at 4 p.m. the Vice President will provide some updates on federal actions that are being taken to support the relief efforts here in Georgia and some other states after the hurricane. So again, that's the shot that you're looking at. She has landed. She has been put into a Secret Service vehicle and has now started the tour. I'm assuming is where they're going now. So again, this is just our crew also leaving the Augusta Regional Airport, as well as we just watched the Vice President of the United States land in Augusta to check out some of the damage left here. A lot of people in the CSRA and surrounding areas have still been struggling from the hurricane damage. I know some people that have water and no power, or power and no water, or still don't have both, or if you have water here in Augusta, you still have to boil it. So there are people still struggling. So hopefully this announcement at 4 can maybe show some relief on a federal level. We have no idea what she will say. So again, we've seen the community really come together during this time to provide relief, whether it's handing out water or a hot meal or delivering food. We've seen so many people trying to get relief and support each other and help each other during this time. We had some reporters live earlier. We had Sydney Hood, where a fire department was handing out food, and a lot of those firefighters or those people who are handing out food, handing out water, don't have water or power themselves, but it is their job, is what they told Sydney, and they want to be there and they want to help the community. So a lot of people that are helping each other are in the same situation as the person that they're helping. So again, hopefully at 4 we can get those updates. But I know here in the city of Augusta, we're still on the boil water advisory. Augusta Utilities, I believe, had extremely low water pressure, so they've been trying to get that figured out. And like I said, some people have one or the other: power, no water, water, no power, or they have neither, or they have both, or they got power for a day and then it went out. So the number, it looks like we're losing the shot, so I'm going to take myself real quick. That number of power outages obviously goes down every day, but this is going to be a very slow process, and it's been a very hard hit for the community, but those numbers are decreasing. Even though it is slow, those numbers are decreasing. And yeah, we did lose the shot, so I'll wrap this up here in a minute or two, but we just watched Vice President Kamala Harris land in Augusta, where she is supposed to be getting briefed on the situation and the damage here left by Hurricane Helene. And at 4 p.m. we're supposed to get some sort of update on federal actions that are being taken place to support the efforts in Georgia and other states, because it isn't just here in Augusta that's struggling. Me and Nick Proto on Monday went over to Johnston, where people were struggling, trees toppled over, and we spoke to a lady who had a pretty positive outlook on the situation, and she said to us that, I really can't complain, all I did was lose power, and losing power is obviously devastating, but to hear somebody have a positive outlook on it and say that's all that's wrong, because there are really people experiencing some real tragedies right now. And she said that she had called in just about every favor that she had to come help her clean up after the storm. So
I just gave you Kemp and OTT too. It looks like he's about to talk.
Okay, awesome. And we do also have Governor Brian Kemp as well. It looks like he is about to speak, so I'm going to take that here in a minute. Excuse me. I was just being told that we had that shot as well, so I'm going to take this. I'm not going to take the sound just yet. I don't know if he's getting ready to speak just yet. Let me change some things over here for the people that are just now joining us, so they're not confused and see Brian Kemp, but also read that Kamala Harris is here. So give me 1 second. 1 second. And I'm going to take this full so we can get that really quick. Again, so we, if you're just now joining us, we just watched Vice President Kamala Harris land in Augusta to tour some of the damage left by the hurricane. And now we're taking a look, because it looks like Brian Kemp is about to be speaking right now. So he should be speaking in just a few moments. It looked like he was about to speak or getting ready to speak. So we'll take that and some sound on that once he officially starts speaking. So yeah, he's touring Thompson right now to see some storm damage, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. So we just watched Vice President Kamala Harris arrive in Augusta at the Augusta Regional Airport. We had crews there live. And then at 4 p.m. again, we will receive that update on the federal actions that are being taken to support. So obviously a lot of devastation in the area and surrounding areas. So hopefully we will get some answers there. And excuse me if I'm looking down, I'm just making sure I'm getting all the proper updates on all 3 of the monitors that I'm looking at right now. So again, we will have Brian Kemp speaking in just a minute. And I'm just making sure everything looks good over here. But again, we do know lots of people still struggling and feeling the effects of this, and it will be a slow recovery. We've had reporters out, and I know a lot of you are probably like, hey, where are you guys? You guys, I haven't seen you boots on the ground here in my city yet. It's taken us a while to get out to some of those places. For a few days we were struggling to even get gas in our vehicles and get out to some of those communities, but slowly and surely we're making our way out into those areas and making sure that we're covering that and helping you guys get the information that you need. So we've been going nonstop on doing that, and it's been great to see the community come together in a positive way and help each other out during this time. So I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything that the governor might be saying, and want to see if he's getting ready to get started. So I'm turning that sound on real quick just to see what we have, if they've started on anything yet. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. Looks like the sound's a little low. I'll fix that really quickly. And it looks like he might start speaking here soon. Again, this is live, so I don't know exactly what they're doing at the moment, but we were taking a live shot of Vice President Kamala Harris landing at the Augusta Regional Airport. So we're just now tuning into this, so trying to figure out what's going on in the shot that we're seeing right now. Again, let me turn this up a little bit. We should get some better sound. You should be able to hear a little bit better now. Okay, so while we figure out what's going on, because obviously this is live and we had a crew there and we were going back and forth, I think we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go on about a 2 or 3 minute break really quick while we wait and see what's going on and provide you guys some updates here in a few minutes. So we'll be back. All right. After that quick break, we're going to start back with, while we wait on Governor Brian Kemp is being briefed right now, and so we'll get an update on that. When he steps out, we'll have that update and he will speak. But for right now, we have Vice President Kamala Harris in Augusta, and we do have our crew there live. And from what I understand, they are going to be following along on the tour. So whatever our crew is seeing is what Vice President Kamala Harris is seeing on this tour. So our crew is kind of going along on this tour with the Vice President and Senator Jon Ossoff as they tour the damage left by Hurricane Helene. So that is what you're looking at right now, just a little bit of this tour. And again, at 4 p.m., we will get that briefing from the Vice President on some updates on some federal actions being taken. And our reporter, Will Rio, is with Kamala, and they're at Augusta Utilities first. So I just got that update. Excuse me for looking all over the place. I want to make sure I'm getting you guys the accurate information. So let me take this full. So again, I am being told that they're at Augusta Utilities to start. And we do have our reporter there live as well, just following along on the tour. So we will be there for this. So what you're seeing is what the Vice President will be seeing, and some of the damages to Hurricane Helene as she meets with some local officials. So again, we're at Augusta Utilities first. So this is where we're at right now. If you guys are just now joining us and wondering what's going on, what you're looking at, the Vice President Kamala Harris is visiting Augusta today, landed around 2:30, and will be getting briefed on the situation and the damages here in Augusta. So again, we are live right now, so for the camera footage, just bear with us there for a second. We are again live on the tour with the Vice President. So she will be meeting with some officials at Augusta Utilities, as you can see here. And again, bear with us for the camera footage. This is live right now. Our crew is out there. And she is joined with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff to tour some damage. And then at 4 p.m., we are supposed to be getting some updates on federal actions that are going to be taken as well.
Very tight to squeeze in.
Please, everybody come in, take a step.
So we're just going to listen in here for just a moment. Looks like they're going to get started here shortly, and then we will take full on that and get some sound on that. So again, if you're just now joining us, what is on your screen right now, Vice President Kamala Harris is touring Augusta today to see some storm and damage, and she's visiting with officials right now at Augusta Utilities on this tour to kind of see the damage, and we do have our crews alive there now. So again, this is at Augusta Utilities, where the Vice President will be receiving some information about the damage left by this storm here in Augusta. should be in the room in any minute. Lots of local officials. I can see Senator Jon Ossoff there, and I saw Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson, as well as other city officials, all in this room right now. So we are live there right now. This is our crew getting this for you. And we're all listening to this for the first time together. And then again at 4 p.m. we are supposed to be getting that update on some federal support being taken in some recovery efforts in Georgia and some other states. So again, we're just waiting. We're live for you guys here. And we will be hearing everything that the Vice President hears as after she steps into the room, and we will be here along this tour following, seeing what she's seeing and some of the damage. We don't know exactly, I don't know exactly what area she will be going to, but we know that she is here in Augusta. Like there is some more movement in the room again. Lots of city local officials. U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff is there. We're getting that right now. She will be with him on the tour, and I also saw Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson in the room as well. So again, just waiting on this to begin. She arrived around 2:30 p.m. We saw the plane land at the Augusta Regional Airport just around 2:30. And here we go. It looks like it's about to begin. So.
Madam Vice President, thank you for being here, especially at a difficult time like this. You know, it's unprecedented time in that this storm has been the worst in the history of our city. So it means a lot for you to come share some time with us to bring resources, and just know that we're deeply appreciative. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And I am here in Augusta to thank all of the folks who are here on the ground doing this extraordinary work. And you know, I've been reading and hearing about the work you've been doing over the last few days, and I think it really does represent some of the best of what we each know can be done, especially when we coordinate around local, state, and federal resources to meet the needs of people who must be seen, must be heard. These are very difficult times, and in a moment of crisis, I think that really does bring out the best of who we are, and you each epitomize that important area of work. So I'm here to thank you and to listen. And Senator, I want to thank you for the work that you've been doing on behalf of the state. Because I know you've been talking to me and the President and many others about making sure that the federal resources get to this beautiful state. So thank you all. Mayor, I am now listening. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you for the press for joining us, and now we will excuse you from the room so we can get down to business.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much. Head back this way, please.
I'll take you to outside. Nice. Shoot.
Yes, I'll get this quickly.
So So it does look like our cameras are being asked to leave the room while the Vice President probably more than likely gets briefed on the situation here. But we just saw Augusta Mayor Garnet Johnson kind of thank her for being here. And the Vice President will speak at 4 p.m. I'm going to take the sound off of the live shot while we still play it because I don't know exactly what we'll see in the next coming minutes. But at 4 p.m. she will provide some updates on federal actions that will be taken to support this emergency response in Georgia and in other states. So again, if you're just now joining us in this one stream, we watched the Vice President, then I'm going to take myself full real quick. We watched the Vice President land at the Augusta Regional Airport, where, along with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff, where they're supposed to be touring some of the damage from the storm that hit late last week. And she's supposed to be getting briefed when she landed, and that's what's happening right now. We just had our crew live at Augusta Utilities, where they were meeting first with plenty of city officials, including Augusta Mayor Garnet Johnson and U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff. So they are there briefing her on the situation and some of the damages here. And then hopefully we'll be following along after that. Again, our crews will be there along with this, and we'll be providing you with some updates. So again, at 4 p.m. we will be getting that update on the federal actions that are being taken for this. So our live shot right now is just of where it seems that most of the press is waiting for some more information and to hopefully continue following along the tour. So that's that shot right there really quickly. So again, I wanted to see, I was waiting on some video. I want to see if I have it yet. Doesn't look like I have it yet. I was going to show some video. Just want to make sure everything looks over here. All right. Yeah. So again, if you're just now joining us, what we were watching was Vice President Kamala Harris land in Augusta today to tour some of the damage. I don't know exactly where she will be going to tour the damage, but we do know that our crew will be there. And right now they are at Augusta Utilities. The press just had to leave the room, but we listened to Augusta Mayor Garnet Johnson thank her for being here and heard some words that she had to share on what she plans to do here, and kind of gave a sneak peek into the announcement of these federal actions at around 4 p.m. that they're supposed to be giving in an effort to support the emergency response and recovery efforts here in Georgia. So I'm also just going to be looking over here to make sure our crew that's there live, we're not missing anything on that shot. Just want to make sure. I wanted to see if I was waiting on some video to show you guys. I want to see whenever we get that. And then I also want to see, we also have a Governor Brian Kemp that is supposed to be speaking in Thompson as well, checking out the storm damage there. I'll take that really quick. That's just the side of it right now. We're still waiting on him. He's being briefed, and waiting on him to step out so we can hear what he has to say about that. So those two things are going on right now, that and Vice President Kamala Harris being in Augusta, which is the big news today, touring some of the damage left by the storm. We do know that the damage has been substantial in many areas. I was saying it earlier, but we know some people that have power but no water, or water but no power, or they still don't have both, or here in Augusta you have water but you have to boil it before you drink it. So substantial damage, and plenty of people still being affected by this today, a couple days later. We've had crews out nonstop in the areas that we can get to right now. We were speaking to Audrey Dickerber, who was out today in one of the areas that was damaged, and the roads were just so dangerous. And this is what we were speaking about on one of our newscasts earlier, about how important some of the officials thought that curfew was, because if it's dangerous in the daytime, you can only imagine how dangerous these roads are at night. So just encourage everybody to stay safe and don't go driving anywhere if you don't have to. We have been seeing such a positive impact on the community and how they've been coming together to provide some support to each other, whether it's water or food or a shelter or any other resources that might be needed in this time. So we've been making sure to keep you guys updated on that. And I do also I want to show you guys while we wait on our website really quickly. Let me pull this up really quick. Give me 1 second. So on our website right now, I want to see if you guys can see this. So this is on our website at the moment. If you go under news, so this is our homepage right here. I'll start from the beginning. Here's our homepage. If you go under news and scroll down, you'll see this article that says free food and water, where to get it across the CSRA. This is going to be your main source for figuring out what events are happening today, tomorrow. We're constantly checking social media and the updates that we're receiving, trying to update this list to get you guys the most up-to-date information on where you can go to take advantage of some of these resources as well. So if we don't specifically report it in one of our newscasts, this will be that article to go look at. Again, it's called Free Food and Water, where to get it across the CSRA. And on this article, you'll see, and we're updating this all the time for the most up-to-date information that is happening today or tomorrow. Again, this is constantly being updated. So something you see on there right now, you might see something new there in 20 minutes. So we're always updating that. So we have also plenty of lists of closures. I just want to also pull up some of the shots so I make sure I'm not missing anything over here. But wanted to show you another one. 1 second. Oh, here's a list of some county and city offices that are going to be closed. Just some updates on some of these. If you want to know about any services or any offices or any buildings, if you want to know if they're open or not, we will have that in here with the most up-to-date information that we have in terms of when they will be reopening, when they closed. So I really just want to reiterate this article right here. If you are still struggling to get to the necessities or need the necessities, this will be that article that will give you that information on where you can currently find some help. And we are updating this all the time. We've have plenty of articles with different information on our website at the moment. Again, we've done some talk about this in some of our other newscasts, but in this article right here, I believe is the one that we have some links for the important information for those that need it. This is where you can apply for that assistance in this article on our website. And here's that phone number. I know we've had some people calling asking for this information. So if you want any of this sort of disaster assistance information, it will be in this FEMA is ready to write checks after Helene article. And so this is also some really helpful information. And si nada más habla español, aquí la información aquí también. So tenemos esto en español. So I was just saying that if you are a native Spanish speaker, we have all that information in Spanish as well for those people that need it. So aquí está la información si lo necesita y nada más habla español. So again, just waiting on some updates. I'm checking our other shots to make sure we don't have any updates. But again, those are those most helpful information on our websites. Again, if it's not here on the News 12 homepage, click News, and you might have to scroll down a little bit, but it will be this, I just saw it, Free Food and Water, where to get it across the CSRA. So this will be that article with all of the updates. And I've put some updates in there myself, been looking at the most up-to-date information. So again, what we're looking at right now is our team live at Augusta Utilities. Our team live at Augusta Utilities, where Vice President Kamala Harris is being briefed at the moment for damage from the storm. So she arrived here at about 2:30, landed at Augusta Regional Airport, and we had that in the stream as well. Just want to make sure everything's good on all of our social media fronts over here. Want to make sure everything's all good. And again, that was the helpful information on our website. Again, we have been trying to put out as much information into our even notifications, because we know a lot of you can't even really open the articles right now if you don't have Wi-Fi or you don't have power. So we have been trying to get out information in the best ways that we can. So we are waiting. This is just to give you an update. We are still there, just waiting on the press briefing to be over. the briefing for the vice president there at Augusta Utilities. So she is boots on the ground right now, going to tour some of the damage happening here in Augusta from the storm. And I just want to check this really quick. Wanted to see, and for those of you that are just now joining us, I'm going to play some of this video of her landing and then from when the briefing at Augusta Utilities started and we were able to be in the room. So for the people that are just now joining us, I'm going to play that for you guys so you guys can kind of see what we've been streaming about. So I'm going to take that video first. So give me one moment. So what I'm playing right now is a video from around, I want to say like 2:45, 2:50 when the vice president landed at Augusta Regional Airport. So this is just a video that I'm playing back for you guys, so you guys are, if you're just now joining us, can see what went on earlier when she actually arrived. If you were a little bit late to the stream or just now joining, this is the vice president landing in Augusta about 30 to 45 minutes ago. So again, if you're just now joining us on the stream, the video that I'm playing is from a little bit earlier today in Augusta, where Vice President Kamala Harris landed at the Augusta Regional Airport to tour some Augusta storm damage. She's currently being briefed on it right now at Augusta Utilities. We have our crew there, but they cannot be in the room for the actual briefing, but I am going to show you a video after this of the statement that Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson and Vice President Kamala Harris made before the actual briefing started and those doors closed, but our crew is still there waiting for that to be over. So looks like this video is just about over, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the next one now. So this was just about maybe 10 to 15 minutes ago at Augusta Utilities.
Especially at a difficult time like this. You know, it's unprecedented time in that this storm has been the worst in the history of our city. So it means a lot for you to come share some time with us to bring resources, and just know that we're deeply appreciative. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and I am here in Augusta to thank all of the folks who are here on the ground doing this extraordinary work. And you know, I've been reading and hearing about the work you've been doing over the last few days, and I think it really does represent some of the best of what we each know can be done, especially when we coordinate around local, state, and federal resources to meet the needs of people who must be seen, must be heard. These are very difficult times, and in a moment of crisis, I think that really does bring out the best of who we are, and you each epitomize that important and good work. So I'm here to thank you and to listen. And Senator, I want to thank you for the work that you've been doing on behalf of the state, because I know you've been talking to me and the president and many others about making sure that the federal resources get to this beautiful state. So thank you all. Mayor, I am now listening. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you for the press for joining us, and now we will excuse you.
So again, that was just before we had to, our cameras had to leave. It looks like we just lost our camera shot, but they are still waiting on the briefing to be over. So I'm going to take another quick couple-minute break while we wait on some developments, and then I'll come back in about 3 minutes. And then if we don't have any updates, I'm going to show you guys some other resources on our website as we continue to wait. But we will be streaming while we wait for these important announcements, both from Kamala Harris, the Vice President, and from Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, who is also in Thompson touring some damage. So we will hear from him in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and start this break, and we'll be back with you shortly. All right, we are back. Thanks for joining us again and sticking with us. If you're still here, I'm going to go ahead and put up some lower thirds. 1 second. Again, so we are talking about the Vice President Kamala Harris in Augusta today touring. Oh, and it looks like we are getting some Brian Kemp footage. I'm going to take that right now. He's live in Thompson.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, look, this is a big storm, a lot of damage, really hard hitting. As you know, Marty and I have been on the ground from Augusta all the way to, here, Augusta. We've seen several parts of the CSRA by air too. And people are just reeling, no power. People are just now starting to get ice, water, other supplies that they need, because it just took so long to get the roads cut open, get the supply chain moving. But we've been working with the locals. They've done a great job getting through the first initial 72 hours, which is what we always warn people before a big storm, and like we were doing with this one, make sure you got 72 hours worth of supplies, because it may take us that long to get to you, to get to your community. And that's exactly what we saw. I cannot tell you how many people I've talked to that said it took us 4 or 6 hours to cut out of our house and to get to town, or for people to cut main routes in the town out. Even for one vehicle to pass, it took a day or two. So you can imagine what the power companies are dealing with.
Oh, absolutely. What's your message to the people of Georgia right now who are reeling? I mean, are you out in these communities letting people know, hey, I'm seeing this with my own eyes? I'm talking to people and hearing that, like having face-to-face conversations.
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to let them know, like we know what you're going through. This isn't me saying this from the Capitol in Atlanta. I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes. Marty and I both have. We've been on the ground. We've been talking to people. We've been hearing what their needs are, whether it's a generator or fixing a leaking water pipe to get water back going. We've literally flown water in with Black Hawk helicopters into local communities that we couldn't get to. And so we know what they're going through. I felt like it was important for people to see and for me to see directly what they're dealing with, because that gives them a sense of hope. I think that's some of the frustration when the first emergency declarations came down. There was only 11 counties in that. A lot of people were outraged, including me, because there was such devastation in up to 90 counties. So we called the White House. We spoke to the President's Chief of Staff, the FEMA administrator, and said, look, you're sending the signal that you're not paying attention to some of these rural communities. And immediately, almost, they added additional 30 counties. So we're up to 41 counties now. But we just want people to know we're going to stay in the fight. We're going to continue to work with the locals. We're going to be here for the long haul. And that's our message to people. Just hang in there. Keep fighting. It's going to keep getting better every day.
Do you expect to add more counties to the
Well,
declaration?
it would be FEMA that's doing the adding based off of the data that we see. But I absolutely think we'll have a lot more counties added than we have right now. We're at 41 right now. I could see us going to anywhere from 70 to 90. It was a massive storm. I mean, we're dealing with things statewide. Even the metro Atlanta area had record flooding. We had mudslides. We had to evacuate people below lakes and ponds up in the northeast part of the state. So we've been dealing with it from, Valdosta all the way up to Rabun County.
You talked about preparations, and I think some of our coastal communities, I grew up in the low country of South Carolina, hurricanes happen. But when you talk about preparing, some of our inland communities, like what you've seen today in McDuffy County, Augusta, these are communities that aren't used to this. I mean, when has a Category 1 hurricane come over our inland communities?
Yeah, never, probably. I mean, literally, for a Cat 2 to hit us in the southern part of the state, remain a Cat 1 through most of the state, if not all of it, is truly unprecedented. This storm barely slowed down. It was extremely wide. So we're dealing with this in multiple counties. But, look, that is why.
I'm taking the president. She's speaking now as well.
Members of this community, and as I was saying to a group earlier, I know what that means. You all leave home, you leave family members who are in need of help and support to go and help people who are perfect strangers to you. And you do this work in these moments of crisis around the clock, with an intention and with a level of care and love for community that is unmatched. And so I'm here to thank you. I know these are long days for you. I know these are days when folks are looking in your eyes to be convinced that everything's going to be okay. And sometimes you're sure of that, sometimes you're not. But you give people a level of confidence in the fact that there are folks who care about them and are working around the clock to make sure they're okay. And that's some of the most noble work anybody can do. So I came by to not distract you from your work, but just to say thank you. And please take care of yourselves, okay? All right, I'll see you later. All right.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you. Hey, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Reach out to my office if you need anything. All right. Thank you. Thanks. What were you saying?
You know, 2 houses or the transmission line to the substation to the main line. So we still have a lot of work to do, but they're on it.
What do you think is the other need? I mean, we've been talking a lot about power. I know water is a big situation in Augusta because people are having to boil their water. McDuffy County, thankfully, they're fine, but a lot of our viewing areas having problems with water.
Well, it depends on where you are. I mean, there's certainly water issues. I mean, we were just with some folks from Wadley, Georgia. They're having a water line issue. But I got a text on the way here. They got 25% of their system back up. So, like, all those things, you're now starting to see some progress. I know we've been working really hard in Richmond County. Columbia County's been a big help connecting with them. I think the Corps of Engineers has been working on that. I know our team has Georgia Power to make sure we can get the water system fully back up and running. But it was a significant hit to that community. But there's a lot of people working on that too. So I think you'll see over the next few days those things start coming back online. It's just going to make people's life a lot easier, and certainly when we get the power back.
I know we've. Oh, go ahead. My last question. About the National Guard soldiers, do you expect to deploy any more of those? I know we already have some in our communities.
Well, we'll deploy as many as we need. 2,500 is a lot, but I've told General Wilson if he needs more, he needs to let me know. We'll make it happen.
Okay. Thank you, Governor. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Be safe on those roads.
All right, we'll do it.
So if you're just now joining us, we kind of have a lot going on at the moment. So we were going back and forth between shots, but one of our reporters, Meredith, just got done speaking and interviewing Georgia Governor Brian Kemp on some of the efforts and the state of the storm damage in Thompson, where he is visiting right now and talking with some local officials, including Mayor Benji Cranford, who had been indicted by a grand jury. So we'll also have some updates on that as well, but again, he is there. So we just listened to a little bit of that interview, but at the exact same time, we also had Vice President Kamala Harris, who landed in Augusta and was at Augusta Utilities, getting a briefing on kind of the situation and some of the damage, and our crew was there, and we had, I'm going to take this as well, because our crew is getting back into the vehicle. They are going along on the tour with the Vice President. So at the same time, she was giving an update to the press and to our reporter who's there, Will Rio, and giving an update on some of the information that she had just learned and some comments that she wanted to make for them. So we had a lot going on around the same time. So I'm going to keep with this clip. Let me change some things over here so I have the accurate information up. But again, we are not live in Thompson. Excuse me. Again, so this is our crew there following along on that tour. Let me see if I can get some sound. Looks like they might be freezing up a little bit, and if we lost them, that's also okay. I have some video I want to play for the people that are just now joining us. And yes, so we did lose that shot real quick. So again, if you're just now joining us, we kind of had a lot of things going on at the exact same time. We had Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, who was speaking. He had just been briefed in Thompson about the state of some of the damage there. And we had one of our reporters interviewing him and getting some information from that. And at the exact same time, Vice President Kamala Harris had been briefed at Augusta Utilities about some of the damage here, and she will be continuing on that tour along with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff to see some of the damage. And then at 4, we should be hearing her speak on some federal things and some federal relief that will be coming to Georgia and other states impacted by this. So those two things were happening at the exact same time, but luckily we were able to give you guys a look at a little bit of both of them. And I'm just checking to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Nothing active is going on, but we will have some of those updates for you guys a little bit later as we get them. But if you're just now joining us, I do want to show some video of the Vice President landing in Augusta at the Augusta Regional Airport, and then a little bit of what she had to say when she first arrived at Augusta Utilities when she spoke with Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson. So I'm going to play some of that right now. So this is her landing that you're going to see up on your screen. So I also do want to show you guys, that was a video of the Vice President landing at Augusta Regional Airport, and this is a video of Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson speaking to her that we're going to hear real quick.
A difficult time like this, you know, it's unprecedented times in that this storm has been the worst in the history of our city. So it means a lot for you to come share some time with us to bring resources, and just know that we're deeply appreciative. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and I am here in Augusta to thank all of the folks who are here on the ground doing this extraordinary work. And you know, I've been reading and hearing about the work you've been doing over the last few days, and I think it really does represent some of the best of what we each know can be done, especially when we coordinate around local, state, and federal resources to meet the needs of people who must be seen, must be heard. These are very difficult times, and in a moment of crisis, I think that really does bring out the best of who we are, and you each epitomize that important and good work. So I'm here to thank you and to listen. And Senator, I want to thank you for the work that you've been doing on behalf of the state. Because I know you've been talking to me and the President and many others about making sure that the federal resources get to this beautiful state. So thank you all. Mayor, I am now listening. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Thank you for the press for joining us, and now we will excuse you.
So again, if you're just not joining us, that was a little bit of the moment before we got asked to leave the room, or the press, who is following along the Vice President on this tour of the damage. And we will be following that as it happens, and whenever we see movement again, there are a lot of moving pieces to this. She's moving to a lot of different places, speaking a little bit here and there. So it is live, so bear with me on that and bear with us on that, because we are there. We're just trying to follow that movement, and whenever we have a statement or some sort of information, that will be my priority to get that out live to you guys. But while we wait on more information, and we also did get an interview with Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, who is visiting in Thompson, for some information there. So we will have an interview up that I can show if you're just now joining us as well, because we got that interview with him a few moments ago. So while that's working on the back burner, I just wanted to give some updates for those people that are just now joining us. And in a few minutes, we might take a break or so, but we will be streaming this whole thing. Vice President Kamala Harris did land in Augusta around 2:30 p.m. here to tour some of the damage with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff. And then I do know that at 4 p.m. she will be giving an update around that time on some federal relief efforts in Georgia and in other states. But I do want to take us back to our website really quick, because I do know that many people are still struggling, some without water and power still, or some still struggling to get those bare necessities. So let me take some of this information off of the screen really quick so you guys can fully see what I'm trying to show you. Again, bear with me, just doing this all live here. So on our website, I want to make sure you guys have access to the best information. And I know a lot of you probably don't have internet or cannot get on our website, which is why we've been trying to put out this information as best as we can, whether it's in a push notification or however we can do it. But if you go onto our website and you press news outside of our headlines that we have, there's one specific article that I want to show you. This is another important one, this list in county city offices that are going to be closed if you want to go anywhere or have any offices. But this one, this free food and water, where to get it across the CSRA. This is constantly being updated by us. I know it says updated a couple hours ago. These are mostly the events from today that are going on, or tomorrow if we have them. But a lot of the people in the community that are doing these events are coming together, or that are doing these events are doing it kind of on a day-to-day basis. So they don't really know if they're going to be doing giving out waters on Friday or Saturday, but they are letting us know and posting about it on social media if they're going to be out there today, if they're going to be out there tomorrow, and we have all of that information right here. So if you are looking for some of those resources, we are looking out for them, we're searching for them, and we want to make sure that you guys have them if you need them. So this is that. I really wanted to guide you guys to this on our website. And I am just getting word that we do have the interview with Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. So give me 1 second. I'm going to work on getting that in for you guys. Give me 1 second. And I got that. So let's go ahead and get that started for you guys.
Here, Augusta, we've seen several parts of the CSRA by air too. And people are just reeling, no power. People are just now starting to get ice, water, other supplies that they need, because it just took so long to get the roads cut open, get the supply chain moving. But we've been working with the locals. They've done a great job getting through the first initial 72 hours, which is what we always warn people before a big storm, and like we were doing with this one, make sure you got 72 hours worth of supplies, because it may take us that long to get to you, to get to your community. And that's exactly what we saw. I cannot tell you how many people I've talked to that said it took us 4 or 6 hours to cut out of our house and to get to town, or for people to cut main routes in the town out, even for one vehicle to pass, it took, a day or two. So you can imagine what the power companies are dealing with.
Oh, absolutely. What's your message to the people of Georgia right now who are reeling? I mean, are you out in these communities letting people know, hey, I'm seeing this with my own eyes. I'm talking to people and hearing that, like having face-to-face conversations.
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to let them know, like we know what you're going through. This isn't me saying this from the Capitol in Atlanta. I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes. Marty and I both have. We've been on the ground. We've been talking to people. We've been hearing what their needs are, whether it's a generator or fixing a leaking water pipe to get water back going. We've literally flown water in with Black Hawk helicopters into local communities that we couldn't get to. And so we know what they're going through. I felt like it was important for people to see and for me to see directly what they're dealing with, because that gives them a sense of hope. I think that's some of the frustration when the first emergency declarations came down. There was only 11 counties in that. A lot of people were outraged, including me, because there was such devastation in up to 90 counties. So we called the White House. We spoke to the President's Chief of Staff, the FEMA administrator, and said, look, you're sending the signal that you're not paying attention to some of these rural communities. And immediately almost they added additional 30 counties. So we're up to 41 counties now But we just want people to know we're going to stay in the fight. We're going to continue to work with the locals. We're going to be here for the long haul, and that's our message to people. Just hang in there, keep fighting. It's going to keep getting better every day.
Do you expect to add more counties to the
Well, it
declaration?
would be FEMA that's doing the adding based off of the data that we see, but I absolutely think we'll have a lot more counties added than we have right now. We're at 41 right now. I could see us going to anywhere from 70 to 90. It was a massive storm. I mean, we're dealing with things statewide. Even the metro Atlanta area had record flooding. We had mudslides. We had to evacuate people below lakes and ponds up in the northeast part of the state. So we've been dealing with it from, Valdosta all the way up to Rabun County.
You talked about preparations, and I think some of our coastal communities, I grew up in the low country of South Carolina, hurricanes happen. But when you talk about preparing, some of our inland communities, like what you've seen today in McDuffy County, Augusta, these are communities that aren't used to this. When has a Category 1 hurricane come over our inland communities?
Yeah, never, probably. Literally, for a Cat 2 to hit us in the southern part of the state, remain a Cat 1 through most of the state, if not all of it, is truly unprecedented. This storm barely slowed down. It was extremely wide, so we're dealing with this in multiple counties. But, look, that is why before the storm, when we did the state of emergency that allowed us to move resources and pre-prepare and get the state operations center so we could start really responding as soon as the storm passed, was so important for us. And it's why we included all 159 counties, because you never know where these storms are going to go. But this one, we knew it was going to be wide. It's one of the largest wind-filled storms ever to come out of the Atlantic. So even though it didn't get to Cat 5, it's one of the widest storms that we've ever had to deal with, certainly in this part of the country, but also certainly in our state. A great example, and to put this into perspective, Georgia Power, strongest storm they've ever had to deal with, they had 1,700 poles that they had to replace. This storm through today, or right now, they have 8,000. So you can see the difference in magnitude this storm has caused, just much more havoc than anything we've ever seen before.
Yeah, and it takes 4 hours to replace each pole.
Yeah,
so
4 to 6 hours.
that math is just incomprehensible when you look at the huge scale of this.
Well, it is, but also you got to realize, like today, they have 20,000 people, just Georgia Power, that are responding to this storm. So you literally have logistics, engineers, clearing crews, linemen. The EMCs have a lot of resources too, so even though it's a lot to do, they got an unprecedented amount of resources that they have. But it is going to take time, especially in our rural areas like parts of McDuffy County and the CSRA. It takes a long way to cut to get lines free, and then there's a long distance between two houses or the transmission line to the substation to the main line. So we still have a lot of work to do, but they're on it.
What do you think is the other need? We've been talking a lot about power. I know water is a big situation in Augusta because people are having to boil their water. McDuffy County, thankfully, they're fine, but a lot of our viewing areas having problems with water.
Well, it depends on where you are. there's certainly water issues. We were just with some folks from Wadley, Georgia. They're having a water line issue, but I got a text on the way here. They got 25% of their system back up. So like all those things, you're now starting to see some progress. I know we've been working really hard in Richmond County. Columbia County's been a big help connecting with them. I think the Corps of Engineers has been working on that. I know our team has Georgia Power to make sure we can get the water system fully back up and running, but it was a significant hit to that community. But there's a lot of people working on that too. So I think you'll see over the next few days those things start coming back online. It's just going to make people's life a lot easier, and certainly when we get the power back.
I know we've... Oh, go ahead. My last question. About the National Guard soldiers, do you expect to deploy any more of those? I know we already have some in our communities.
Well, we'll deploy as many as we need. 2,500 is a lot, but I've told General Wilson if he needs more, he needs to let me know. We'll make it happen.
Okay.
So if you're just now joining us, that was a little bit of the interview that we just got with Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, who is in Thompson right now. He was getting briefed on some of the damage over there. And We also still are streaming Vice President Kamala Harris as she is in Augusta touring some of the damage. She was just at Augusta Utilities and got briefed on some of that. And we are going to be following that live. Our crews are there following along with that. And we are going to start a newscast here in a couple of minutes. But if you want to keep updated with the tour of the Vice President here in Augusta, I will be I will be playing the newscast while we wait, because it is a tour, so there's moving and stopping, and then she'll speak again, and then we'll get some new information. But I don't know how long that will last or how often we'll get that new information. So you will see this stream be cut off with the newscast just while we wait for new information. So if you want to be updated on the status of the Vice President and where she is or the information she has to give, you will still be in the right place here. We'll just be cutting in every time we see movement, because a lot of it is stopping and waiting. So that will be in the next couple of minutes. But we did just hear Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's interview with Meredith. She is there in Thompson as he was being briefed. And I wrote down some of the important things that he said. He did emphasize that this will be a slow recovery, and that he hasn't just heard about some of the bad damage, that he's seen it with his own eyes, is what he's been saying. And he, and also the city of Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson did say that 40% of Augusta still lacks water service. So we know plenty of people are still being affected by this. But we asked him, Meredith asked him about the counties listed under FEMA, if he thought it would grow or any more counties would be added to that. And currently it's at around 40. And he said, yes, he did see that it could grow to up to 70 or 90 counties in that. So if you're not currently listed, that could be some hope for you there. He does see that number of counties on that list growing. And just some stuff about these light poles and these power poles and these people that have been working. He said that 1,700 poles needed to be replaced. And Meredith did bring up a good point. It does take about 4 to 6 hours to replace one of these poles. But he did say 20,000 Georgia Power people alone have been responding to this. So we know that a lot of you guys are still struggling, some without water, some without power, some without both. And it is going to be a slow recovery, and our crews are out there trying to get into some of those communities. But hopefully here around 4 o'clock we should be hearing the Vice President should be giving that update on some federal actions that are going to be taken to support this emergency response. But we are live in our newscast right now, so I am going to take that as well. But I did just want to let you know that we are still here at the digital desk going to cover the live footsteps of the Vice President as she gets briefed on all of this, but there currently is no movement at the moment. Whenever we get an update and whenever we get that shot up of current updates, I will take that up on the stream. So you might see us cut back in from the newscast and from the live stream. So if that is what you want to see while you're here, you want to be updated on the Vice President and her movement, as well as any new information, you are in the right place. If you see our normal newscast, tune into that as well, but you are still in the right place. I'm just going to be cutting back and forth. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and take our newscast right now.
As Zaina mentioned, we're going to be following her every step of the way because she's got several stops scheduled through Augusta, not to mention getting on the bus, touring the damage and seeing what's going on. But she's there visiting with dignitaries at the airport. That's how it all started this afternoon. We're going to get back with much more on the Vice President's visit to Augusta. No matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, having a federal spotlight on our city today is good news when it comes to federal resources.
And allowing them to get to see the damage up close, I'm sure really means a lot to everyone here at home that has been affected. Again, we'll have more from the Vice President in just a bit.
And in McDuffy County, Governor Brian Kemp in Thompson today, making his second visit to the river region in just 3 days.
Your Meredith Anderson is live in McDuffy County with more on the governor's visit. Meredith.
Governor Kemp actually just left the area a few moments ago. I had the opportunity to speak with him one-on-one, and you were just talking about the Vice President giving a spotlight to us, showing our local area. And, you know, when you talk about getting federal aid, it is so important because Governor Kemp said he was so upset with the federal declaration, the disaster declaration at first that only had 11 Georgia counties listed. I mean, very soon after that, there were 30. Now, of course, we have 41 counties. But he said that he was angry with that. And I asked him, do you think there will be any more counties added to that list? And he said, yeah, I do. I think we could expect to see a final count of maybe 70 to 90 of Georgia's counties added to that list. Today, he was in Glasscock County, Jefferson County, and toured the area here in McDuffy County. And the damage here, this is our first time here. We've been unable to get so far out of Augusta just because of the gas situation, but we were able to tour it today, and we saw some of the damage here ourselves. Their main situation here is power. About 70% of the population here is without power, and we have seen power poles mangled on the side of the road, but we have also seen signs of progress, which is a very good thing. We have seen power crews out working today. McDuffy County officials tell me they have anywhere between 300 and 500 Georgia Power crews out working, and that's amazing because they are doing everything they can to get the power back online. But when I asked Governor Kemp some of the things he saw today, here's what he had to say. Apparently we don't have that ready for you. I did also ask him too about the National Guard and their presence here. We've got 2,500 soldiers throughout the state of Georgia that have been deployed. And I said, do you see maybe if there's a need? Do you think perhaps you might have more National Guard soldiers? And he said that he has already said if we need more, he will send more. But that's the latest here in McDuffy County. Many apologies that we could not hear from the governor. We will try to let you hear from him as soon as we can. He did just leave here moments ago.
Hey, Mayor, I was listening to your interview with the governor earlier, and he seemed truly surprised, just like all of us are shaking our heads, that this powerful storm hit the Florida coast and did so much devastation this far inland.
Yeah, he said, this is absolutely unprecedented. He kind of stopped and said, I hate to use that word because it's been used so many times, but unprecedented is really the case for this situation. Richard, you and I grew up in coastal communities, so hurricanes are really nothing new. But when you talk about a Category 2 hurricane moving through some of our inland communities in South Georgia, and then a Category 1 hitting us in our area, unprecedented is the best word that we can use here. And you can prepare for this. We have said, use 72 hours of supplies, have those ready for you. But, we are way past 72 hours at this point. It really is difficult to prepare for a storm like this just because of, number one, its sheer strength, and number two, its sheer size.
And certainly still waiting for a lot of those resources. Many people still in the dark, but at least more counties are kind of getting in that aid situation. So we started with a few counties. Meredith just said 41, and that can continue to grow.
Yeah, and Meredith, it's great to have the governor in town. Like we said earlier, I think his third visit to this area. It's that kind of resources he's going to bring to bear everything we need to get going. And we have seen more power crews arriving by the day, by the hour, it seems like. So that's a bit of a relief, too, for a lot of people, seeing them finally making it into those neighborhoods. But Meredith, much more from you and the governor from McDuffy County coming up a little later on in the show. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham in Aiken tomorrow to attend a briefing with state and local officials there. The senator will tour the Aiken County Emergency Operations Center. Officials have compared Helene's impact on Aiken County with its devastation of Hugo, the Category 4 hurricane famously that hit Charleston in 1989. Meredith and I were just talking about that because that storm brought massive damage all the way through Charlotte and to the Blue Ridge Parkway. This is that kind of storm. The mayor and emergency managers are expected to speak along with Senator Graham, who will also speak with the media afterwards. But heads up for the senator's visit tomorrow in Aiken.
And like we mentioned, getting power back on is a priority for us. So many of us in line crews have been just working around the clock for us to make sure that happens on both sides of the river.
Georgian Litwiller is with Aiken Electric. Check it out.
Here you can see the challenges that the natural landscape here in this area is presenting as recovery efforts continue. Just look behind me right now. You can see a number of the trees on this property completely wiped down from the storm. This area was said to have about 100 mile an hour of wind gusts here. And you can see these trees aren't just small little twigs. These are massive trunks that have come down. And in this area alone, we've seen some of the utility poles they're again pretty wide, but they've just been snapped like twigs, some of them just hanging on by a thread. In this property alone, you see a number of the wiring here and some of the lines coming down onto the property. This tree, again, look at just the size of this tree. It's very firm. You can see it just dragged down some of these electrical wires and these cables now coming onto the property. And as you can see, following over here to the carport just decimated and destroyed. as one of these trees came down and destroyed the carport as well as the truck beneath it. This property here, a lot of work to be done to get it back up to normal.
Damage still all across our area. Aiken Electric revised numbers for how many people are getting power restored every day. Now, instead of 6,000, it's about 2,000 every day.
A lot of heavy lifting going on out there right now. There are still, of course, thousands of people without power on both sides of the Savannah River. Georgia Power reporting more than 120,000 people without power in our area. Dominion Energy over in South Carolina reporting just under 50,000 people in this area without power.
In Augusta, many organizations are lending a hand with food, water, and other resources people need during the power outages.
Your Sydney Hood is live for us with that part of the story. And Sydney, what have you been seeing out there in South Augusta today?
Well, Richard, I'm actually at the old train depot parking lot off of Reynolds Street, and you can see this is the place to be if you want to come get a hot meal, if you want to go get cases of water. Right now we've got Marshal's office is out here, the National Guard is out here as well. They are unloading just big truckloads of these ready meal boxes. We've got cases of water out here that they are handing out to families. They've got the line that is stretching out all the way to Reynolds and 5th Street. Now this is one case per family, one box per family, and these boxes hold about 12 meals inside. And I gotta tell you, of all the places that I've been to today, I was also at Diamond Lakes earlier today where they were also selling or giving out these boxes and cases of water. And people, this is a happy sight for folks. I was speaking with one woman who lives in Hephzibah, and she was telling me that she's been without power and without water for the last several days ever since Helene hit us. And she said that this is starting to make things light up for her. Like, she knows there's still a long road ahead, but seeing folks out in the community, the National Guard helping out, giving out and helping them, that, you know, it makes her, you know, feel like, you know, their help is here on the ground. It was nice to actually see that, she told me. But like I said, I'm out here at the old train depot parking lot, and I've been told that they'll be out here until about 6:30 this afternoon. So come while you can. As you can see, we've got a lot out here in the parking lot. So come so you can have a meal for your family, get some water for you and your family. And like I said, these lines out here, there's a pretty good crowd out here, but it's nothing like those gas lines that I'm sure most of you have been sitting in for the last several days. So like I said, come out to the old train depot parking lot off of Reynolds Street.
Hey, Cindy, you were out there with a couple of tanker trucks yesterday, virtually by yourself. Describe how much that scene has changed in 24 hours.
It's a complete 180, Richard, as you can see. I want you to just take a look at this car line right here. Like I said, it stretches all the way out and curves out to Reynolds Street. As we were coming in earlier, we did not think we were going to be able to get in to talk to you right now because the line was so long. We had to ask the sheriff's office if they could just squeeze us in so we can get in here and get in on the action. But I mean, it is a complete 180 compared to whenever I was out here this time yesterday. I was actually talking to one of the guys who's holding up the potable water tanker right here in front of me, and he made the same comment to me. He said this is a lot better crowd than what we saw out here yesterday. So that's what I told him. That's why we're out here trying to get the word out for folks. So again, if you want a meal, if you want a case of water, drinking water, come on out here to the old train depot parking lot off of Reynolds Street. It's one case per family and one box per family.
Okay, good to know. So if you are going to head out there soon so you can hop in that line. But it's nice to see people utilizing these resources being brought to our area. People probably didn't expect that we would still be going on with not fresh drinking water and still many in the dark.
Members of the National Guard there. That is community help and, and a recovery in high gear. All of a sudden we have switched into high gear. Sydney, stay where you are. We'll check back with you a little later to see how things are going over there. But right now, let's check weather. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
Yeah, nice weather out there if you are heading out to get any of those resources. Temperatures right now 83 degrees at Daniel Field. Luckily not a ton of wind. You can see a lot of sunshine out there. A touch of humidity. We haven't really seen our dew points change. Those are staying steady in the mid 60s. Temperatures across the region right now anywhere from around 82 to 86 degrees. Fairly average for
I just realized that my microphone was off. Excuse that. Anyways, I'm back. But we do not have an update in terms of Vice President Kamala Harris, but I did just want to, I did just want to give an update on a resource that we haven't posted on the website yet, but I just wanted to say it. There, today, starting at 3, there was a food truck giving away hot dogs and hamburgers from a local church here. And if for our viewers that only speak Spanish or our Hispanic community out there, I am about to read this in Spanish just so that way they can get this information as well. So I do have it on my phone, so I'm going to be looking down. But hoy desde las 3 de la tarde en 3265 Deansbridge Road en Augusta, Oasis VIP está dando un drive-thru, dando hot dogs y hamburguesas y algo más a la comunidad. Si puede pasar el voz a aquellos que necesitan comer algo caliente, pero empezaste a las 3 de la tarde hasta que se acabe. So, en las 4:13 ahora, so no sé si algo se queda, pero eso empezaste a las 3 y quiere decir eso a la gente que nada más habla español o que español es más mejor. So again, basically what I just said was that announcement that there was that food truck drive-through giving out hot dogs and hamburgers, and that's at 3265 Deansbridge Road until they finish. And that started at 3, but I messaged the people doing that, and they still have more. So I just wanted to give that announcement. So I'm going to tune back into the newscast while we wait, but I just wanted to give that information to that community as well.
Fire Department is giving away food until 5. Plum Branch Fire Department until 6 tonight. And Bethia Fire Department is giving away food until 6 as well.
And in Augusta, there will be free meals. The Hub giving away food until 5 o'clock. The Salvation Army Kroc Center, they're going to have the food giveaway now until 5:30. And then tomorrow and Friday, a free lunch from Sand Hills Community Center, that will be happening at noon. So a lot of resources in a lot of places around our county, our city and county, Riley.
Absolutely. And luckily, the weather has been fairly dry for us since that storm did hit last week. And we are going to continue things mostly dry into the weekend. Temperatures not really going up or down too much. But next week, we get a taste of fall. We'll have a look at it just after the break.
Our regular newscast just went on break, so I'm going to give some updates for the people that are just now joining us. But we've been covering Vice President Kamala Harris as she is in Augusta, and we are waiting on an update on that. But this is the current shot. We are, it's not the best live shot, but we are currently in with the tour going through those areas, and then we should be getting more information as soon as we have it, and I'll take back to this live shot when we get it. But we are currently still rolling, still trying to get that information, following along on the tour, seeing what she's seeing, and then we'll obviously have that updated information as soon as we can. So I've also got our live newscast out. Like I said, if you're waiting on those updates about Vice President Kamala Harris and her being in Augusta today, as I'm waiting on those, I'm also streaming our regular 4 p.m. newscast, so you guys can get that information while we wait. But if that is the information that you're looking for, it will still be here. I'll just be cutting in and out over the next few minutes while we wait on that. So just wanted to give you guys that update as well. So this is our crew in the car waiting to get that update. Again, if you're just now joining us, we did have some video of the Vice President landing in Augusta, and I'm going to play that right now real quick.
Welcome back, folks. We got our Grovetown camera back. This is a look at that Lewiston Road Kroger, a good sight to see.
And then right after this, I'm also going to play her meeting with city officials at Augusta Utilities. And here's that. Mayor Garnett Johnson speaks a word with her, and then this is from earlier today as well.
Especially at a difficult time like this. You know, it's unprecedented time in that this storm has been the worst in the history of our city. So it means a lot for you to come share some time with us to bring resources, and just know that we're deeply appreciative. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And I am here in Augusta to thank all of the folks who are here on the ground doing this extraordinary work. And, you know, I've been reading and hearing about the work you've been doing over the last few days, and I think it really does represent some of the best of what we each know can be done, especially when we coordinate around local, state, and federal resources to meet the needs of people who must be seen, must be heard. These are very difficult times, and in a moment of crisis, I think that really does bring out the best of who we are, and you each epitomize that important and good work. So I'm here to thank you and to listen. And Senator, I want to thank you for the work that you've been doing on behalf of the state, because I know you've been talking to me and the president and many others about making sure that the federal resources get to this beautiful state. So thank you all. Mayor, I am now listening. Okay.
And it does look like we are getting some movement over on the tour with the vice president. It looks like we just lost transmission. Hopefully we'll get that back, but there was some movement. They did leave the vehicle. Let's tune into this right now. But it does look like we're seeing some movement. We might get another word here, but this is the vice president touring some of the damage. The officials see that be getting out of the vehicle, so we're just going to tune into this here for a second.
Great.
Okay, everybody. Everyone, we're going to hold here to cover it for 1 minute. Then we're going to move to our remarks space. Please just listen for our instruction. Okay?
Sounds good.
You'll all follow me.
Best friends, we're back here.
Senator.
Okay, everybody, we're going to move back to the next station, our remarks location. Get back to follow our first please. Thank you. Yeah.
So we're just taking a look at the vice president as she was visiting some of the damage from the storm. Our crew is getting a different shot right now. They were being asked to move back, so I'll pull that back up once we get a better shot. But you could see how emotional this was for those that she was visiting, those that were standing in front of some of the damage. I don't know if maybe it was to their property that they were at, but you could see the emotion in the people there. So once we have a better shot of that, I'll pull it back up. And it looks like it might be coming up right now, but I don't want to stream it live if we're not sure what's happening. But we did just get the shot of the vice president touring some of the damage. And here, I want to show you guys, this is what she's looking at right now.
Line.
So again, if you're just now joining us, what you're looking at is a live shot of Vice President Kamala Harris as she visits Augusta along with Senator Jon Ossoff as they're touring some of the damage from the storm. And the view that you're looking at right now is where they're at on this tour to see the damage. This is the site that they're looking at right now. And a few moments ago, we saw her talking with some people who seem to be really emotional about this damage, like many people are during this time. So I'm going to hold this up as long as we have new information and we have a good sight on that. But yes, this is what where they've taken the vice president to look at some of the damage left from the storm. So that's what's on your screen right now. This is live. Our crew is there. They've been following this route all day. So this is what we have right now. This is what she's looking at. It looks like she will be speaking here in front of this home that obviously has seen some real damage from the storm with all of the toppled over trees. I mean, I'm seeing this for the first time with you guys as well, but wow. I mean, this is going to be life-changing for these people, this devastation. It's really hard to see. So here in a few moments, we should have some remarks for her, and I believe this will be when she speaks about some federal actions that are going to be taken to support this emergency response and these recovery efforts in Georgia. We were told at 4 p.m. she would provide some updates, so I'm assuming there's the podium, they've got the microphone, so I'm guessing she will be speaking here, and maybe this is where we will hear some of those updates. So while we wait on that, we've got that, but for those people that are just now joining us, I do want to give some updates on what we've been discussing here. And excuse me if I look down or look to the side. I've got all the different monitors here trying to get information, make sure I have everything that I need up here. But Vice President Kamala Harris landed in Augusta around 2:30 this afternoon at the Augusta Regional Airport. And our crew has been there live recording it, getting us the footage back. And then they moved to Augusta Utilities, where the vice president was briefed on some of the damage here, and she spoke with Augusta Mayor Garnet Johnson there as well, and was briefed a little bit on the situation going on here in Augusta right now. And so she was touring some of the damage, and now here around 30 after 4, we're going to get she's hopefully going to provide these updates on the federal actions being taken. So stick with us so you can receive that information as well. But I'm seeing this at the first time with you guys as well. And I mean, the trees completely toppled over in front of this home. It's just devastating. And I know earlier we were playing an interview because Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is in Thompson, or he was in Thompson earlier today, getting briefed on the damage down there. But I did want to give you guys this update. We also were saying it in our newscast. I think they're doing a mic check. I'm not sure. I do have the sound on, but I'm not able to hear it at the moment. Let me just make sure that's not me. But yeah, so, and what I heard, what I took away, oh yeah, here we go. They're doing a mic check. I think they might get started soon. Okay, while we wait for that, I did just want to say that the Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, there were currently around 40 counties listed on FEMA, and our reporter Meredith, she asked if any more counties would be added to this number, and Georgia Governor Brian Kemp did not just say 2 or 3 more. He said he thinks it could be close to 70 or 90 counties total that could be listed under FEMA. And he did say that he wasn't just kind of told about the devastation, he had seen it with his own eyes. And some other things that I wrote down from that or took note of that is that 20,000 Georgia Power people alone have responded to this, and 1,700 poles needed to be replaced. And Meredith told us earlier that it takes about 4 to 6 hours to replace each pole. So they've been working extensively on this. And I know a lot of you here at home or in surrounding areas are still without power, still without water. I know here in Augusta we are still under the boil water advisory, still having to boil water. And that's still affecting a lot of people. It's going to be a very, very, very slow recovery. And Augusta Mayor actually did say that 40% of Augusta still lacks water service. So just wanted to give you guys a few of those updates from when our reporter spoke to Governor Brian Kemp and those things that he said. So he said that he could see close to 70, anywhere from 70 to 90 counties listed on FEMA. So if you're not listed right now, don't worry. He's expecting a lot more counties to be listed on that list just with the devastation. And in this shot that we see where the vice president is right now, I mean, the devastation of these trees on this home, I mean, people live there. These are people's homes. So it's devastating. And this is the story for so many residents and so many people in the area and other states and other counties. And we've been sending reporters as far as we can get them, and we're still reaching out to those other communities to try and get those voices heard. But the way that the community's been coming together to support each other has been amazing to see in these relief efforts, whether it be water, whether it be some shelter, whether it be gasoline, whatever it is. So it's been nice to see the community come together in those ways. Me and Nick Proto were in Johnston on Monday, and we spoke to a woman who had a couple trees fall in her yard, and she had the most positive outlook and said, you know, all I did was lose power, and that's a good thing. So it's nice to see that people are carrying a very positive outlook on this. Obviously, the devastation is widespread, and the recovery will be slow, but people have been coming together. And we had a live shot earlier with your Sydney Hood where some firefighters and some first responders were giving out some free meals and some water in some local places, and they're most likely also don't have water, also don't have power at the moment, but they're out there serving the community, helping provide to the community the same things that they could probably use themselves. And she said that they were telling her that it is their job and they want to do it, and that's how they want to be spending their time, is serving the community. So yeah, I just wanted to give those quick little updates while we wait on the vice president to speak. But I assume this will be where she provides the update on the federal actions that are going to be taking place. So I'm just holding the shot up because I don't want to miss her speak. But yes, so from Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, he did say that he thinks close to 70 to 90 counties could be listed on FEMA. And on our website at WRDW.com, we have all of the links for that under the article that FEMA is going to be writing checks, I believe is what we titled it. The links are under there, as well as a phone number you can call, and we also have the links to that in Spanish as well. If English is not your first language, we also have the link to that in Spanish on that website, completely translated so you can understand the help. So let me tune in here for a second.
Thank you.
I missed what he said, but I believe he said that the vice president would be out speaking shortly. So And sorry, this is live, so I'm taking in all this information at the exact same time with you guys. So thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for bearing with the stream. So many moving parts to this. We had the governor and then the vice president all happening around the same time. So I'm very appreciative of you guys. For those of you that are able to watch the stream that have cell service, or if you don't have cell service and you're using your phone battery right now. So just wanted to give you guys those updates. We're waiting on the vice president to speak. She landed in Augusta around 2:30 and then went straight to Augusta Utilities where they briefed her on the current situation here. She's supposed to be doing a tour of the damage. But I know the community is so grateful to have all of the positive support that they've had over the last few days. We've seen so many people with such a positive attitude, and so many people trying to go out and support the community every single day. We're finding new places where people are handing out water, or we've seen some deliveries being made. We've seen deliveries being made onto certain streets or to certain families or to certain who can't get out of their homes. And like I said, the community support, we've just seen it. And if you're wondering, like, why haven't we seen you guys out there yet? We haven't been to my community. It took us a few days to even get gas in our news vehicles here. So I promise you, we have not forgotten about you. We're getting out to those communities and we're trying harder every day to get further and further out, but you are not forgotten. We are just dealing with all of the same issues that everybody else is, and we were at the beginning. So gas was the same issue for us in getting out. So as we start to recover here at home, we are reaching out to those further communities and making sure that you guys have all the information and resources that you guys need as well. And while we're waiting, I'm going to have the live stream up here as well, just so that way I can see if she steps out. But I wanted to show you on our website, if you're wondering where you can get some relief, if you need some emergency resources, some necessities, I want to show you where to get that on our website. So I'm getting ahead of myself, excuse me. If you're on our homepage, if you go to news, oh, and people are moving, I'm just making sure I don't miss anything. If you go to news, where is it? Oh, here, this article. Oh, and it looks like she's about to speak, so give us 1 second.
Where's the senator? So I'm here in Augusta to first and foremost thank the federal, state, and local leaders. Mayor, I want to thank you for your leadership in particular on the ground. I am here to personally take a look at the devastation, which is extraordinary, and it is particularly devastating in terms of the loss of life that this community has experienced, the loss of normalcy, and the loss of critical resources. And so I'm here today to thank all of those who are working to get folks the support and the relief that they so desperately need and so rightly deserve. And that includes the fact that still in this community up to 60% of the residents here do not have power. Many have been without running water for at least a couple of days now. Many have water but no hot water. I was just talking with one of the members of the community and her daughter who lost her husband. And there is real pain and trauma that has resulted because of this hurricane and what has happened in terms of the aftermath of it. I do want to acknowledge and thank the first responders who have been extraordinary. Having met with them, they are the kind of folks that are the heroes in moments of crisis, who do extraordinary work that is about lifting up other people. As it relates in particular to the leaders who are here and doing that work, including the first responders, most of them, as it relates to the local folks, are folks who have personally, and their families have personally experienced loss and devastation, and yet they leave their home, leave their family to go to centers like where I was earlier to do the work of helping perfect strangers. And it really does highlight the nobility of the kind of work that these public servants have dedicated themselves to, which can be in moments of crisis like this so selfless in the way that they do that work. The President and I have been paying close attention from the beginning to what we need to do to make sure the federal resources hit the ground as quickly as possible. And that includes what was necessary to make sure that we provided direct federal assistance. And that work has been happening. I want to thank the governor for his leadership and his close coordination with the federal government, with our administration. And I want to thank the local leaders for together creating a task force-like response, knowing that we are at our best when we work together and coordinate resources, coordinate our communications to the maximum effect for the community that has been impacted. And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met, such as food, baby formula, and the like. And you can apply now for anyone who's watching this who has been affected. There are FEMA personnel who are going door to door to interact personally with folks, especially those who do not have electricity. But also that aid, if you have electricity, can be applied for online, and I encourage people to do that. FEMA will just basically verify your address, and then the process should take hold. FEMA is also providing tens of thousands more dollars for folks to help them be able to deal with home repair, to be able to cover a deductible when and if they have insurance, and also hotel costs. Today I'm also announcing that the President has approved the governor's request for 100% federal reimbursement of local costs. And Mayor, as you have pointed out, the burden to local governments, including the state government, is pretty immense. And so by announcing today and making the dedicated resources to cover 100% of local costs, will have a huge impact on our ability to get relief to people as quickly as possible. And that will include, for example, what the federal government will do to reimburse local and state governments around issues like debris removal, which you can see just up and down this street, much less in other areas of the state and in the region. This is a big issue. I was speaking with one of the residents of the community who needs that big tree removed so she can actually get to work and make sure that her child is able to get to school when the schools reopen. So this is a very big part of the recovery process. That money of the federal reimbursement will also help with emergency services that are now being provided by the state, so that they can be reimbursed and then have the resources to keep providing those emergency services. Also, we will be covering the local government costs for food, water, and shelter. Again, resources that are desperately needed by the members of this community. And so my final point to the residents of this community and the region is that we are here for the long haul. There is the work that we have done together that was the immediate response, preparation for, and then the immediate response after. But there's a lot of work that's going to need to happen over the coming days, weeks, and months. And the coordination that we have dedicated ourselves to will be long-lasting to get families, to get residents, to get neighborhoods back up and running. And my last point is this. I think that in these moments of hardship, one of the beauties about who we are as a country is people really rally together and show the best of who they are in moments of crisis. And we've seen that throughout the region, where communities are coming together, where people are helping perfect strangers, where they are providing food, water, shelter for their neighbors, and that neighbor may be somebody they've never met before, but are doing the work of helping each other out. And I think it really highlights the fact that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us, and that the best of the strength of who we are is we come to each other's aid in a time of need. So I thank everyone for doing that kind of work every day. And with that, there is more work to be done. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. I did receive updates in terms of what's happening in the state, and so far the number looks to be 33. The mayor was just sharing with me 7 alone in Augusta, Richmond County. So the numbers are coming in, and part of the challenge of being accurate at this moment is that there are still so many areas that are remote, also rural areas, areas that are not easily accessible. So the assessment of the damage is being done across the board, and of course the highest priority is to locate and determine individuals, people who are in need, and making sure we're getting to them as quickly as possible. Thank you.
All right, so that was just Vice President Kamala Harris speaking here in Augusta after completing her tour of some of the damage here in the area. And I wrote down some notes that I am going to repeat to you guys, but the biggest announcement that I heard was that the president approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% federal reimbursement of the local costs. And she said that this will include debris removal, the emergency services provided by the state, 100% reimbursement on that, and then the reimbursement for the local costs for food, water, and shelter. And I also did write down that she said that they are here for the long haul. She said, we are here for the long haul, is what she said about her and the president's support for this. So again, 100% federal reimbursement of local costs. The president, that was new today, approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for that 100% federal reimbursement of local costs, including debris removal, EMS services. And I'm going to take this as well just so we can see her as well still while I'm giving some of these updates, including debris removal, EMS services provided by the state, and local costs for food, water, and shelter. And she did say that the highest priority is to locate individuals in need and to get to them. So those seem to still be the biggest priorities, but that bigger announcement is the 100% reimbursement of these federal funds is what she just said. And that was the update that we were waiting for, that we were told we would get around 4. It's currently 4:45. She just finished speaking 2 or 3 minutes ago. If you're just now joining us, I'm going to take myself again. I'm not really sure what kind of shot we're going to get right there right now. But again, the vice president has just announced here in Augusta that the President Joe Biden has approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% federal reimbursement of local costs as a result of the damage of the storm. So that will include, she said, debris removal, to remove debris off of, like, for example, the street that she is on right now with the damage from the storm that is full of debris. EMS services provided by the state and other things like local costs for food, water, and shelter will be reimbursed 100% by the federal government. She also said that FEMA had been continuing to give tens of thousands of more dollars into supporting this. And then I also did note that she said that FEMA would be going door to door, especially to those without power, in terms of going and applying for that disaster relief. She did mention that they would be going door to door, especially to those without power, or they are going door to door. I'm not sure her exact words on that, but she did say that FEMA was going door to door, especially to those without power, to make sure that they are able to sign up for this relief, to get this relief, verify addresses, and make sure that they can get that direct federal, the direct help from FEMA of $750 for those who need immediate needs met. We do have a full article for that on our website, as well as the resources, the links, the phone number to call. But I did note that she said that FEMA would be going door to door, especially to those without power. And then she did say that direct federal assistance work is happening. And one of those things that is happening that she just told us was that the president approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% federal reimbursement of local costs, including debris removal, EMS services provided by the state, local costs for food, water, shelter. So that is good news for our small local cities, and anything on the local level. That's great news there. We saw Augusta Mayor Garnett Johnson was there beside her as she was giving that announcement. So yeah, so that is the announcement that she made at 4. That, again, if you're just now joining us, President Joe Biden approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% federal reimbursement of local costs, including, and she said it would be including things like debris removal, things like the EMS services provided, the emergency services that are being provided by the state, and local costs for food, water, and shelter. So that is really good to hear for Augusta and some of these local communities to ease that burden a little bit and all of these costs to provide relief to a lot of the people that needed it, still need it, and will continue to need it into the future. Again, she said that they are here for the long haul is a quote that I wrote down from her. So that was obviously the big thing, was the approval of that request from the governor. And that about the FEMA, she said FEMA would be going door to door. I can't remember exactly if she said they were currently or they would, but she did say FEMA was going door to door, especially to those without power, to make sure that they can get some of the relief that they need, whether that be applying for the disaster relief and verifying addresses and making sure that people can get that information to get that $750 check for those who need immediate needs met, like baby formula, food, water, all of those immediate needs. So that's really important as well. And on that point, I do want to show you on our website where we have this information as well. Give me 1 second. So on our website, if you go on to the homepage and click news, this FEMA is ready to write checks after Helene. Here's how you get one. This is that website that you'll go to. And we also have it in Spanish. If you are, si nada más habla español, this is where you would go for that. You would click that right there. But down here we have the phone number as well as the website. And here's all the information that you would need to get started on that claim. But this has all the information you will need for that. So that did get brought up in what she was talking about today. Again, if you're just now joining us, the president approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% reimbursement, federal reimbursement of local costs. So this will be great. It's good to hear for Augusta. It's good to hear about all of the other local communities struggling from this, because it isn't just here. So the specifics on that, she said, include the reimbursement for things like debris removal, EMS services provided by the state, local costs for food, water, shelter, all of those necessities. And then she did say that FEMA would be going door to door, especially those without power in the community, to make sure that they have the resources that they need or what they need to apply for that disaster relief that they're providing. But she did say that direct federal assistance work is happening, and this approval of this request is one example of that. So that is the major update from there. For those of you that are just now joining us and maybe missed the beginning of our newscast, I'm just going to kind of go over everything that we've shown here today, because we do have some videos. I do want to show this interview with Brian Kemp, again, Governor Brian Kemp. We have about a 6-minute interview with him that we got earlier today about what happened in Thompson. He was over there seeing some of the damage. But again, if you're just not joining us, that's what we have been watching this entire time, was Vice President Kamala Harris as she touched down into Augusta and began her tour to see damage. And the announcement that was made shortly after 4 p.m. was that the President Joe Biden had approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% federal reimbursement of local cost in terms of relief from the storm. So she said that specifically included things like debris removal, EMS services provided by the state, and local costs for food, water, and shelter. So I'm going to actually play this interview that we have from Georgia Governor Brian Kemp that we got a little bit earlier today. So for those of you that are just now joining us and didn't get to watch it earlier, can see what he had to say in terms of our state.
Here, Augusta, we've seen several parts of the CSRA by air too. And people are just reeling, no power. People are just now starting to get ice, water, other supplies that they need, because it just took so long to get the roads cut open, get the supply chain moving. But we've been working with the locals. They've done a great job getting through the first initial 72 hours, which is what we always warn people before a big storm, and like we were doing with this one, make sure you got 72 hours worth of supplies, because it may take us that long to get to you, to get to your community. And that's exactly what we saw. I cannot tell you how many people I've talked to that said it took us 4 or 6 hours to cut out of our house and to get to town, or for people to cut main routes in the town out. Even for one vehicle to pass, it took a day or two. So you can imagine what the power companies are dealing with.
Oh, absolutely. What's your message to the people of Georgia right now who are reeling? I mean, are you out in these communities letting people know, hey, I'm seeing this with my own eyes? I'm talking to people and hearing that, like having face-to-face conversations.
Well, that's why we're here. We're here to let them know, like we know what you're going through. This isn't me saying this from the Capitol in Atlanta. I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes. Marty and I both have. We've been on the ground. We've been talking to people. We've been hearing what their needs are, whether it's a generator or fixing a leaking water pipe to get water back going. We've literally flown water in with Black Hawk helicopters into local communities that we couldn't get to. And so we know what they're going through. I felt like it was important for people to see and for me to see directly what they're dealing with, because that gives them a sense of hope. I think that's some of the frustration. When the first emergency declarations came down, there was only 11 counties in that. A lot of people were outraged, including me, because there was such devastation in up to 90 counties. So we called the White House. We spoke to the President's Chief of Staff, the FEMA administrator, and said, look, you're sending the signal that you're not paying attention to some of these rural communities. And immediately, almost, they added additional 30 counties. So we're up to 41 counties now. But we just want people to know we're going to stay in the fight. We're going to continue to work with the locals. We're going to be here for the long haul. And that's our message to people. Just hang in there. Keep fighting. It's going to keep getting better every day.
Do you expect to add more counties to the
Well, it would be FEMA that's doing the adding based off of the data that we see. But I absolutely think we'll have a lot more counties added than we have right now. We're at 41 right now. I could see us going to anywhere from 70 to 90. It was a massive storm. I mean, we're dealing with things statewide. Even the metro Atlanta area had record flooding. We had mudslides. We had to evacuate people below lakes and ponds up in the northeast part of the state. So we've been dealing with it from, Valdosta all the way up to Rabun County.
You talked about preparations, and I think some of our coastal communities, I grew up in the low country of South Carolina, hurricanes happen. But when you talk about preparing, some of our inland communities, like what you've seen today in McDuffy County, Augusta, these are communities that aren't used to this. I mean, when has a Category 1 hurricane come over our inland communities?
Yeah, never, probably. I mean, literally, for a Cat 2 to hit us in the southern part of the state, remain a Cat 1 through most of the state, if not all of it, is truly unprecedented. This storm barely slowed down. It was extremely wide. So we're dealing with this in multiple counties. But, look, that is why before the storm, when we did the state of emergency that allowed us to move resources and pre-prepare and get the state operations center so we could start really responding as soon as the storm passed, was so important for us. And it's why we included all 159 counties, because you never know where these storms are going to go. But this one, we knew it was going to be wide. It's one of the largest wind-filled storms ever to come out of the Atlantic. So even though it didn't get to Cat 5, it's one of the widest storms that we've ever had to deal with, certainly in this part of the country, but also certainly in our state. A great example, and to put this into perspective, Georgia Power, strongest storm they've ever had to deal with, they had 1,700 poles that they had to replace. This storm, through today, or right now, they have 8,000. So you can see the difference in magnitude this storm has caused, just much more havoc than anything we've ever seen before.
Yeah, and it takes 4 hours to replace each pole.
Yeah,
so
4 to 6 hours.
That math is just incomprehensible when you look at the huge scale of this.
Well, it is, but also you got to realize, like today, they have 20,000 people, just Georgia Power, that are responding to this storm. So you literally have logistics, engineers, clearing crews, linemen. The EMCs have a lot of resources too. So even though it's a lot to do, they got an unprecedented amount of resources that they have. But it is going to take time. especially in our rural areas.
I stopped that video just because I wanted to get to this. We did follow the vice president. I believe she is at Henry Brigham, where they are having an event there. So this was the next stop on the tour. So I just wanted to keep you guys updated with where we're at on that. So this is what you're currently seeing on your screen right now. For those of you that are still with us or just not joining me and following Vice President Kamala Harris as she tours Augusta and the damage done here. And she did just release an announcement just under, I want to say 15 minutes ago, that President Joe Biden approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% federal reimbursement of local costs, including debris removal, emergency services provided by the state, and local costs for food, water, and shelter. So this is currently where she's at right now. I believe this is at Henry Brigham. 1 second, and then I will also put our regular newscast up here in just a moment. We are covering that as well whenever we get out of that break. But what you're looking at right now is Vice President Kamala Harris at another event. Just want to see if we can hear a little bit of what's going on. So this is live right now. I'm going to take to this really quick. So it does seem that she is at an event for the community. Just, you know, she arrived around 2:30, has been here since she first stopped at Augusta Utilities, where she was briefed on the situation here in Augusta, and then it went on. And I'm going to tune into our newscast really quick.
Welcome back once again. In case you're just joining us, live coverage continues of Vice President Kamala Harris's visit to Augusta. You're looking at live pictures of the Henry Brigham Community Center, where she'll be addressing the storm damage from Helene and talking to those volunteers there, because they're a big part of that community center.
And she's currently on a bus tour around Augusta. And when she does begin to address the community here at Henry Brigham, we will take another listen. As you can see right there, a close-up. Senator Ossoff in the back. We know Mayor Johnson out there is with her. She was just along Golden Camp Road not too long ago. She did address the press there and just gave updates on the FEMA assistance available, encourage people to apply for that, as well as just touched on community members and how everyone is really rallying together. She said this is going to take time to build, to recover. It's not something that's just going to take days but months, but she did reiterate that she and the president will be there to help give out all much needed resources to people in need.
And that's one of those key resource centers we have. Members of the Red Cross are also there doing their thing. So I think it's really just a chance for the vice president to see what we've got going on the ground there and to check that out. But we're going to keep an eye on the live pictures there and take you back there just as soon as we can to keep up with Vice President Harris as she makes multiple stops all around Augusta before hopping back on Air Force 2 later and leaving Augusta Regional Airport. Live coverage continues. But right now to McDuffy County, Governor Brian Kemp in Thompson today, making his second visit to the region in 3 days.
Your Meredith Anderson is live in McDuffy County with more on the governor's visit.
Hey guys, I got to speak with Governor Kemp shortly after he was briefed here at McDuffy County Emergency Services headquarters. And he had a lot to say, and not just about what he saw today in McDuffy County. He was also in Jefferson County and Glasscock County, some of the rural areas. And I think that is what is so important about his visit today and about the vice president's visit today as well. It is our elected leaders. Here we have a very prominent Republican, a very prominent Democrat, both of them here in our area saying, hey, we see you, and we don't just see you. When we are here, that means we can get you help. Of course, the vice president is promising help, and Governor Kemp is promising help as well. He is seeing this with his own eyes, and actually, when he called the White House, once he had this idea, you know, before he had even seen everything about the problems in our communities, he said, you know what, you're forgetting about these rural areas in Georgia. We need more counties under a declaration of emergency. And at first we only had 11. He said he was outraged. Well, now it was bumped up to 30, and then we have 41. But when I spoke with him today, he says it would not surprise him if that declaration jumped to 70 or maybe even 90 of Georgia's counties. That is just how widespread the destruction is here. And you know, if you take a look in some of the areas in Augusta, if you look in Columbia County, if you look in McDuffy County, and Alyssa Lyons and I were driving through McDuffy County today, and we saw a lot of the same things. It's the power lines that are just ripped up. And I'm not talking about, you know, some lines that are down. We're talking about the poles that are snapped in half. So this is one of those instances where it's going to be a replacement situation rather than, you know, just a repair situation. And that's something that Governor Kemp talked about. He also talked about the importance of him being here. And I want you to listen to part of that interview.
Well, that's why we're here. You know, we're here to let them know, like we know what you're going through. This isn't me saying this from the Capitol in Atlanta. I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes. Marty and I both have. We've been on the ground. We've been talking to people. We've been hearing what their needs are, whether it's a generator or fixing a leaking water pipe to get water back going.
And it's important for him to know this, because when he has these conversations with leaders at the federal level, he can pass on things that he has seen with his own eyes, things he's heard with his own ears. And, you know, as we are reeling, our communities are hurting right now. And he says that he hopes that his visit also gives hope. You know, it's one of those things of visibility. I see you. I know what you're going through. I want to be able to help if I can. And Richard and Zaina, sometimes that is enough just for people to know I care about you and I want to help.
Being heard and being seen, and you can tell that was his point in that interview we just heard from the governor right there. He doesn't want to be sending reports down from the Capitol building. He wants to do it face to face in these hard hit communities and really see what the people are experiencing here at home.
And Meredith, I like the point you made at the beginning. When you're sitting in the dark, when gas is a problem, when ice is a problem, when water is a problem, it's not about politics. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. This is a recovery issue, don't you think?
Oh, it absolutely is. And I think it's incredible that, you know, we have leaders from both sides of the aisle in our communities, and they're really making a difference. And I know a lot of people can say, oh, you know, a leader is here just for a photo op. But we have just heard, you know, Vice President Harris talk about some promises that she can make from the administration. And we heard Governor Kemp today, too, talking about how he called the administration in Washington. He talked to the chief of staff and said, this is what I need here in Georgia. So I think we're hearing from both sides promises, but I'm also hearing from both sides promises that are being kept. And right now, when we need all the help we can get, I think that's a very good thing. And it doesn't matter if it's coming from a Democrat, and it doesn't matter if it's coming from a Republican.
Meredith Anderson in McDuffy County. And along that same line, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, he'll be in Aiken tomorrow to attend a briefing with state and local officials there. Graham will tour the Aiken County Emergency Operations Center. Officials have compared Helene's impact in Aiken County with the devastation of Hugo. We saw that famous Category 4 hurricane that hit Charleston in 1989 and did so much widespread damage throughout South Carolina up beyond Charlotte to the Blue Ridge Parkway. The mayor and emergency managers are expected to speak, along with Senator Graham, who will also speak with the media following that. And of course, we'll give that coverage as well.
And a big question everyone wants to know, power. When will my power be back on? Getting power is a priority for so many, and line crews have been working around the clock to make sure that happens on both sides of the river.
And these people are from all over the USA, and it's great to see their logos on the side of the truck. Give them a thumbs up if you see them out there working. But Jordan Litwiller caught up with Aiken Electric, and here's his report.
Here you can see the challenges that the natural landscape here in this area is presenting as recovery efforts continue. Just look behind me right now. You can see a number of the trees on this property completely wiped down from the storm. This area was said to have about 100 mile an hour of wind gusts here. And you can see these trees aren't just small little twigs. These are massive trunks that have come down. And in this area alone, we've seen some of the utility poles they're again pretty wide, but they've just been snapped like twigs, some of them just hanging on by a thread. In this property alone, you see a number of the wiring here and some of the lines coming down onto the property. This tree, again, look at just the size of this tree. It's very firm. You can see it just dragged down some of these electrical wires and these cables now coming onto the property. And as you can see, following over here to the carport just decimated and destroyed as one of these trees came down and destroyed the carport as well as the truck beneath it. This property here, a lot of work to be done to get it back up to normal.
And just another look there, all that devastation still down. Aiken Electric revised numbers for how many people are getting power restored every day. Now, instead of 6,000, it's about 2,000 every day.
So there are still so many people, thousands in fact, without power on both sides of the river. Georgia Power now reporting more than 120,000 people without power in our area on the Georgia side. In South Carolina, Dominion Energy reporting locally just under 50,000 people without power.
In Augusta, many organizations are lending a hand with food, water, and other resources people need during the power outages.
There are so many needs. You're Sydney Hood live with that part of the story. And Sydney, you're downtown, just the same place you were yesterday, but what a difference 24 hours makes.
Absolutely, Richard and Zana. Y'all take a look with me at this line that stretches all throughout the parking lot at the old depot off of Reynolds Street. You can see cars for as far as you can see them. They are turning right onto Reynolds Street and 5th Street, right beside where you would go into the marina. But they are in line coming here to get cases of water. We've got meals here in the boxes. We've got about 12 meals inside these boxes. We've got fresh produce out here. We've got bleach. We've got Pine Sol cleaning supplies out here as well, and they are loading the cars up. They've been doing so for the last hour that I've been out here. I've been told that the National Guard's been out here since around 11 o'clock this morning. They're going to be out here until around 6:30 in the evening. You see we've got cases on cases, boxes on boxes ready to go home to you and your family. And I've been to several of these distribution sites all day today, and I gotta say, this is the biggest crowd that I've seen so far today. More of you are able to get out and get access to these supplies here. And I was at Diamond Lakes earlier this morning talking with some folks out there, just kind of what these last several days have been like for them. And I was talking to a lady from HEPSPA, and she told me that her and her husband have been without power, been without water since the storm hit us, and today was actually one of the first days they were able to get out, get access to these fresh water, get access to the fresh food. So I know there are a lot of folks happy to see these distribution sites out here right now. I was actually talking with United Way earlier, and they tell me that this is one of the biggest distribution sites in the city. I've been told that they'll be out here tomorrow in the same spot, old train depot parking lot off of Reynolds Street, distributing all these supplies that you see out here behind me. I want to give you just an update on where you should pull in at. You can see the line of cars goes right here behind me, like you would go out to go onto Reynolds Street and 5th Street. That is where you would enter at. We've got the marshal's office out here directing traffic into a single file line, so that is where you will want to be sure and go in at. But again, they are expected to be out here until around 6:30 this evening. It's 1 case of water per car, and then these boxes behind me have about 12 meals inside of them right now.
So Sydney, first of all, it looks like Arm Day for the National Guard. Those guys are getting an upper body workout right now, hauling that water to those cars, and we can't thank the National Guard enough for doing that. But from where you're standing, can you tell if that line stretches all the way back to Reynolds Street? What should people expect when they pull up to that area off Reynolds Street? Or can you even tell from where you're standing?
You can't see it from where I'm standing at right now, but there is a marshal's officer standing there directing traffic. She will tell you where to go. She will direct you in line here. I think we're going to go and give you a glimpse as far back as you can see right now, but there is a marshal's officer right there on Reynolds and 5th Street directing traffic, telling you where to go. They're forming you into a single file line and then taking you out right here onto Reynolds Street. So there'll be an officer out here directing you, telling you where to go and how to get in line so you can get access to everything that is right here behind me.
Perfect coordination there,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Just follow the instructions. And another thing Sydney mentioned, they're getting water. You see the National Guardsmen putting those in the car, but also Sydney mentioned fresh produce and also cleaning supplies, which is probably really needed right now.
Oh yeah, Sydney, that's a good idea. And is that sort of the variety of what we see out there, the water, the produce, the cleaning supplies?
Yeah, we've got a lot of variety out here. I was actually talking to one of the National Guardsmen out here, and whenever they mentioned bleach and Pine Sol, I kind of chuckled a little bit, but you know, with a lot of us having our powers out, we're going to be needing to clean our refrigerators out. So that was kind of the whole idea of having that out here as well. But then I also want you to notice that potable water tanker right here behind me. That is still parked here and is ready for you to bring your jugs up here so they can send you back with safe drinking water. Because remember, Richmond County residents, we are still under that water bowl advisory right now for the county. So right here at the old train depot parking lot, they still have the potable water out here. All you got to do is bring your jugs. We have a full list of those locations for you on our website, WRDW.com. But it's not just potable water. We've got cases of water out here. We've got these meal boxes out here, fresh produce, cleaning supplies, just a little bit of a variety out here. And I gotta say, looking at some of these cars right here, I'm seeing some very happy faces drive out of here. This is a refreshing sight for a lot of people, is what I'm gathering.
You can't be mad about it. Resources in our area, it's free, and then you see these wonderful people from all over our area and out of state just coming to help us in this time of crisis. Sydney, thanks so much. So just head to the old train depot, hop in line, pop open the trunk. It's as easy as 1-2. You just might have to wait a little bit.
Love the organization over there. You can tell the National Guard's involved as well as the Richmond County Marshal's Office. Sydney, thanks so much.
We're going to send things over to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale with a look outside. People shouldn't have to worry about anything if they are heading out.
Luckily so, Zaino, the weather is cooperating again today. A live look from our Wheeler Road camera we actually got back today. So you can see I-20. This is at the Wheeler Road exit there at the bottom of your screen. You can see a good bit of sunshine overhead. So luckily not tracking any rainfall across the area right now. And luckily the wind's not overly breezy, just a north wind right now, currently at 5 miles an hour. And we'll continue to see that wind direction generally out of the northeast the next couple of days. Here's our evening temps. We are going to stay in the 80s the next hour, but dropping into the 70s past sunset. And we should actually be able to see temperatures down to the 60s by early tomorrow morning. Quick look at our radar network. Not much happening here, but I wanted to briefly mention that we are still keeping an eye on this chemical fire there in Rockdale. So this is I-20. I want to take that off the map there, but there is still that chemical fire between us and also Atlanta, so near Rockdale, Georgia. Just be mindful of that. It may not be best to head west as we head towards these evening hours. That's when they're continuing to advise people to stay inside near there. Luckily, that's not moving our direction. Our wind direction is out of the east-northeast, so continue to blow that chemical reaction going on towards Atlanta, and luckily not pushing it towards us here in the CS area. And we should continue that generally east wind direction over the next couple of days. Morning lows are going to be dropping to the mid-60s by daybreak tomorrow morning. There could be some patchy dense fog right at daybreak, so be mindful of that if you're going to be up early. I'll have a look at some cooler temperatures heading our way next week in just a bit.
Riley, thanks so much. As a reminder, there are several places you can get water this afternoon. In Columbia County, the procurement warehouse, that's giving away cases of water until 6 this evening. You have a little less than an hour to go for there. That's over on Faircloth Drive in Evans. There's still time to make it over, though. There's a limit of 1 case per family. You do need to show an ID once you show up. In Richmond County, you can fill a container of water at Diamond Lakes, Blythe City Hall, Warren Baptist Church, the Aquatic Center, Southgate Plaza, and the old train depot where we were just live there on Riddle Street.
You can get bottled water from the old train depot, Southgate Plaza, and Diamond Lakes until 6:30 tonight. If you're in Burke County and you lack drinking water, you can email burkepio@burkecountygeorgia.gov and give them your address with the number of people in your home. And if you're in need of food, there are some giveaways today. The Monetta Fire Department is providing food and bottled water right now on Walden Street. In McCormick County, the fire department is giving away food until 5. Plum Branch Fire Department until 6 tonight. And Bethia Fire Department is giving away food until 6 tonight.
In Augusta, a free meal giveaway. The Hub is giving away meals until 5 o'clock. Actually, that's just cutting off in the last 15 minutes, so that truck may have moved on by now. And the Salvation Army is over at the Kroc Center. They're serving meals until 5:30, so a little bit of time for you to hit to the Kroc Center and do that. Then tomorrow and Friday, a free lunch at Sand Hills Community Center. That'll happen right at noon. There is other breaking news to report, this time out of Augusta, Columbia County, where there's reports of one person injured after a shooting in Columbia County. Major Morris says it happened on Saddle Tree Lane and one person is in custody. We're working to learn what led up to the shooting and how the victim is doing. Riley?
Well, we do have temperatures holding steady close to average into the weekend, but next week we actually do bring back some fall-like temps. We'll have that full forecast coming up. Well, another camera we did get back today. The area that will likely form after around 6 a.m. and continue to be with us maybe up until around 8, 9, especially around the Savannah River and south of I-20. So just a heads up for any of those cleanup crews. If you're going to be up early, there could be some of that fog around. Here's our day planner. Tomorrow we are going to hang on to that cloud cover through the day. We'll call it partly to mostly cloudy. That wind direction once again out of the east, northeast, staying less than 10 miles an hour, and we should see our afternoon highs top out near 85. Same thing into the weekend. Not really going to see our pattern change all too much. That wind direction should stay steady out of the northeast between 5 to 10 and continue those morning temps in the 60s too after warming up into the 80s.
I don't think my mic
afternoon.
was on when I was speaking just then. So give me 1 second so I can give you guys an update again on everything that I just said about Vice President Kamala Harris, because she is here. And she was here, and I'm getting from one of our reporters that she is at the last stop, and we're going to get that live for you. I'm waiting to get that live shot. As soon as I have it, I will put it up for you guys. But in the meantime, I just wanted to give the biggest updates for those of you that might just now be joining us and want to understand what's going on, what we've been covering, what's the newest information. So what she announced at one of her stops was that President Joe Biden approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% federal reimbursement of local costs. She said this includes debris removal, EMS services provided by the state, and local costs for food, water, shelter, all of those necessities. So she spoke on that. And then also some things that she noted. She was also, her last stop was at Henry Brigham Community Center, where she was out boots on the ground with members of the community. The Red Cross, members of the Red Cross were there as well, providing some relief. So she was there at that center while they were in the middle of providing some relief to the community. So again, our reporter is live still on the tour of Vice President Kamala Harris. I believe they're en route to the last stop. So we'll get that up here as soon as we have that as well. But that big news that we got at the last place that she spoke at was that 100% federal reimbursement of local costs had been approved by the president. It was Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request. He approved it, and she did say her highest priority was to locate individuals in need and get to them. And I was showing earlier, and I don't know, let me pull this up one more time. This is the link that you'll go to see on our website. It's titled FEMA is ready to write checks after Helene. Here's how you get one. And under here, we even have a Spanish form of this article. But if you scroll down, you'll see the website and the phone number that you can call. And she did say mention that FEMA was going door to door to make sure that people were able to apply and get this aid. So she did say they would be, I don't know if she said they had been or would be, but she said FEMA is going door to door to make sure people are able to apply and able to get that assistance and verify their addresses and whatnot. So those are some big things, but she did say, announce this federal relief for local costs, this reimbursement, which will be great for Augusta and other local communities. So we did just see her at Henry Brigham Community Center, and she is en route to the last stop. So whenever we have that shot up, I'll pull that up again. But I just wanted to update you guys. For those of you that might be just now joining us, she did land in Augusta around 2:30, went to Augusta Utilities, got briefed on the situation here, took a bit of a tour looking at some of the damage in the city, and then spoke there where she announced this federal assistance for local costs, and then went to Henry Brigham, the community center, where she was just putting boots on the ground and being a part of some of the relief efforts. The Red Cross was there. So, and I just want to take into our newscast really quick, but that's the update. But we do have a live shot, I believe, of President Biden touring Helene damage in South Carolina.
Before boarding Air Force One, about why he needs to see it for himself.
Look, we're going down to see what the damage done. I'm going to be going back again to other states. But here's the thing, this natural disaster is incredibly consequential.
Well, after touring South Carolina, Biden will travel to North Carolina to talk with state officials there about the widespread damage they've seen and flooding, especially in the western end of North Carolina. The Asheville area hit hard. And tomorrow, the president travels to Florida and then back here to Georgia as he continues surveying the damage. A lot of national attention on our two-state area today. We're back with more live at 5 after the break.
So that was a quick little update from President Joe Biden, who had been doing his own tour as well on some of the damage from this storm. So again, if you're just now joining us, Vice President Kamala Harris is in Augusta today, touring some of the damage here along with U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff. And they did a bus tour around Augusta. They were just at the Henry Brigham Community Center, and she did encourage people to go and get that FEMA assistance. That was something that she was saying. She was really encouraging members of the community to reach out for that. And she did say that the highest priority would be to locate those individuals in need and to get to them. And the big news that we got out of one of the moments that she spoke during this tour was she said that President Joe Biden had approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% federal reimbursement of local costs. And then she was going to speak about what some of this would mean or what some of this would include. And she said that that includes debris removal, EMS services provided by the state, local costs for food, water, shelter, and all of those immediate needs. We also got an interview that we have been showing when we spoke with Governor Brian Kemp earlier. And some things that I noted is currently there are about 41 counties listed on FEMA, and he said that he thinks that he could see it going anywhere between 70 and 90 counties because so much devastation is left in so many different areas. So that was what he said just about an hour or two ago. And we did see that the Augusta mayor said that 40% of Augusta is still without water service. We're still under that boil of water advisory here in Augusta, and we do know that many people don't have water or power or one or the other or both, and that some people here have seen plenty of devastation. So the vice president was here, boots on the ground, is still here. And I'm waiting to see if I can hear from our reporter who's out there, Will Rio, to see if we're going to get another shot or not. But yeah, those are some updates for you right now. I'm waiting just to see if we're going to get any sort of other transmission or anything. But when our newscast comes back on, I'm going to play that while we wait on any further updates. But if you're just now joining us, that's what we've been covering. Vice President Kamala Harris here in Augusta touring some of the damage and giving some announcements on some federal relief for local communities affected by the storm. So she did say that I noted that I thought was important was that FEMA was going door to door to make sure that people had access to signing up for this relief or verifying addresses and getting that information out to people. And the vice president did encourage FEMA assistance and signing up for that FEMA assistance and making sure that you have it. She was at Henry Brigham Community Center where members of the Red Cross were there. And we're going to go back into the newscast here a little bit shortly to get some of those updates while we wait again. But President Joe Biden approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% reimbursement by the federal government of local costs as a result of the storm. So that is going to be great for those local communities and those local governments to experience some relief. So we're back in our newscast. I'm going to take that again, but that was just a quick little update. Oh, I don't think it's actually up yet, sorry. Anyways, while we wait on that, she is on a bus tour around Augusta, waiting to see if there are any more stops. I'm not sure if we will have that up again or any updates, just waiting on that right now. But while we're waiting on the newscast to start, to tune into that, while we wait on more information, she did say that this federal reimbursement of local costs included debris removal, emergency services provided by the state, and local costs for food, water, and shelter. And I did also take some notes from the interview that we did with Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, and he said that 1,700 poles needed to be replaced as a result of the storm, and that it takes 4 to 6 hours to replace each pole, which is a workload, I'm sure. And he did say that 20,000 Georgia Power people alone were responding. So I know some of you are still without power or still struggling in this time, and it is slow progress, but that progress is being made. We're just seeing it very slowly, but boots are on the ground, and hopefully we can start to recover very soon. So we're going to take back into the newscast that's back up, and then we'll check back shortly.
Regional Airport, a U.S. Senator on hand to meet her, right along with Augusta's mayor himself. And from them, they went over to Augusta Utilities for a quick briefing of our city and the way things stand with our utilities. And then it was on to Golden Camp Road.
And that's where she actually got to meet with some community members there on the ground, and also gave us an update and just reiterated the FEMA assistance is available and encouraged everyone to go ahead and apply for that. We also know they're meeting at the Henry Brigham Community Center as well. But she's just been giving updates, and right now, just on that bus tour, we know that she's going to be leaving our area around 6:15 today. But again, just here to really survey all of the devastation, all of the damage right here at home with her own eyes.
We do have our eyes on her visit, and we know traffic-wise, the area near Augusta Regional Airport will be locked down again as the Vice President makes that move. But as we said earlier, it's one of those rare days where we have Air Force 2 on the ground in Augusta and Air Force 1 in South Carolina with President Biden, both of them touring to see the devastation up close and personal as federal assistance is promised for our area in the two states. Shifting gears now to McDuffy County, your Meredith Anderson there speaking with local leaders and the governor about their recovery efforts after Helene.
Meredith, what did they have to say?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, first, I want to show you something. You see this street sign? This is Jones Street and 10th Street. This street sign came from Augusta, and it landed not far from where I'm standing. Okay, I'm not a meteorologist, but this is about 35 miles as the crow flies from where it is supposed to be. That has to be a tornado. I mean, isn't that just shows you the sheer power of this storm. A sign from Augusta ended up in McDuffy County. Look at that. I mean, everybody knows where 10th and Jones Street is in Augusta. It just shows you just how powerful this storm is. And they want to say, too, to the mayor of Augusta, they will return this to you. They're just keeping it here at Emergency Services in the meantime. I'm joined here by Jason Smith, the Community Services Director. I mean, I don't know if we could give people a better visual of how strong this storm is than that.
Good. You know, that's pretty good. We see things every day that amaze us, you know, coming out of this, the wonderful stories of people helping. But, you know, that's the kind of thing that is a tangible reminder that this is a big place we live in that can get really dangerous sometimes.
It absolutely can. And you guys have a meeting every night at 6 o'clock to kind of go over what you've learned in the day. What are you expecting to talk about at the meeting that's starting in just about 30 minutes?
Sure. So tonight, I think our main points tonight are going to be talking about the food distribution, the water and food distribution we started today with the help of GEMA and the National Guard. We're going to talk a little bit about our shelter out at Sweetwater Park Gym. It's still open and running. We reopened our landfill today for people to bring out waste from the storm. We also placed 5 dumpsters around the community for people to drop off spoiled food. We know that about 70% of our community is still out of power, so that means there's a lot of food that's spoiling. So we are giving them a place to come dump that. There's 5 locations throughout the community. We'll give them to put on y'all's website. Beyond that, we're kind of taking a little bit of a breath tonight. We've caught up on kind of our front end reaction to the storm, and we're going to start looking more at, you know, what comes next for us. The governor was here today. Hopefully that's going to get us down the road for some more assistance to get things cleaned up and get us moving down the road to really getting past the storm.
Something a lot of people are dealing with right now, debris. There is a lot of it. I was driving through Thompson today and parts of McDuffy County. I saw a lot of it on the side of the road. I know y'all are cautioning people, don't put it in the right of way because emergency vehicles are going to have trouble getting around it.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, we want to keep them clear for emergency vehicles, but also, as I said, 70% of people without power. That means utility crews are coming in and out of neighborhoods fairly constantly. And if it's on the right of way, that's just something else that they've got to get around to get to these poles and get power reconnected or cable reconnected or whatever they're reconnecting. So we're asking folks right now not to put it out on the right of way. We'll get there. but right now is not the time for that.
How is everybody doing? I mean, I know this is one of those moments where you said take a breath, but this has been really difficult.
It has been. You know, you can't, I don't see how you could ever prepare for this. You know, one of the things the governor said today is that using the Georgia Power analogy of they had, a couple of hundred poles out and they're up at 8,000 now. That shows the magnitude of what we're facing. We've faced storms before that were small pockets for our community. This is county line to county line devastation. We have crews that are going out and looking at homes that are cut in half by trees in some cases that we didn't know anything about. So we're finding stuff every day that we need to respond to and need to make sure that the people in it are okay. Of course, that's our first concern, is making sure our residents are okay. Once we get past that, then we start looking at getting to the cleanup and that. I think overall, people are starting to, without power for almost a week,
right.
That's going to wear on folks, and we understand that. We do have a curfew in place just to make sure that our utility workers who are working around the clock are safe at night. When the power goes out, it gets dark, really dark at night, and so we're making sure that these folks are safe when they're trying to reconnect this power. I think all in all, our community has responded well. I think we're a community that is committed to helping each other and supporting each other as much as we can, and that's what we've seen. We get offers for a quick example is yesterday we put out a call to help for some nursing homes in the community, and we had dozens of people coming by with food and adult diapers and all that sort of thing just on a moment's notice. So it's great to see that response. It's great to see people reaching out and taking care of the community they live in.
Yeah, and the water situation.
Yes.
I know you've got a meeting that you've got to get to, but it's so good. So far, so good.
Yes, so our water system is great. We initially, after the storm, we're keeping it up and going with generators. We're past that now. We have power reconnected to these stations, to our production stations, so we're good to go. Water is not going to be an issue. We're not going to be shutting it off anytime soon. And we know that our utility bills are going out late, obviously, because our government complex has been down. It's not open to the public right now. So we're not going to be cutting anybody's water off or anything like that right now. We're going to make sure our community gets what it needs.
Great. Okay, guys, that is the latest here in McDuffy County, again, where a little piece of Augusta found its way not too far from where I'm standing.
Unbelievable. And a reminder that we do know that we had top wind speeds of 80 miles an hour. That's hurricane force winds hitting. And Meredith, you're right. Possibly tornadoes. We don't know yet until the National Weather Service weighs in on that. But that is a great example of what those strong winds will do. Thank you so much.
Just goes to show the magnitude of this storm.
Right.
Wow. Like Meredith said, we know where 10th and Jones is, but in McDuffy County?
Yeah, that's a kind of a haul there.
Okay.
It's amazing. And metal flew that far. People are struggling still to get assistance, and we're talking about South Augusta now.
Your Audrey Dickerber is live from South Augusta. And Audrey, what are people saying about that area?
Well, this is an area that I've constantly heard from people that they already feel like they're left behind. And when you have damage that's so strong and so disastrous, it just adds to everything. Let me just step out of the way and show you one of the streets, and this is what a lot of the streets look like over here. You see these power lines down. I mean, people have no choice but to drive through it, but it's honestly incredibly dangerous. If you go down the street even more, you see it consistently like that. And we also have seen multiple houses with trees that have fallen into them that have been split in 2 to 3 to 4 different ways. People that just don't have roofs, people that are still looking for help and assistance, that actually whenever we showed up, they were asking us for help, seeing what we could do to help them out. It's something that it's honestly hard to describe just because there's so much of a need and so many people that need help out here. I mean, we really need to get help out this direction. And, even when we've been standing out here, people are pulling up to us saying, help us, like come down this street, come down this way. I mean, all day we've been driving down these streets and just seeing this great need out here. It's honestly just so hard to put into words what we've seen.
And I mean, that intersection right there, that road behind you, I mean, really just a danger zone with all of those power lines just every which way. This just goes to show, I mean, this storm really came through our area and impacted not just one area, but almost all streets. I mean, what we call home, it does not look the same anymore.
Audrey Dickerber there on a dangerous situation, and those low lines could get just another few feet lower, and then they're down on traffic. So certainly something that the power crews, I'm sure, will get to as quickly as they can. But Audrey, I'm glad you're there because at least that gives them the fact that they know that we're paying attention, we're putting the word out, and that's good for South Augusta. So thanks so much for that.
In Augusta, many organizations lending a hand. We've been telling you food, water, resources, fresh produce, cleaning supplies, everything you need. Our Sydney Hood has been tracking that.
That's right. She's live at the old depot on Reynolds Street downtown. And Sydney, that place has just exploded since you were standing there virtually alone yesterday.
It looks more like a grocery store than a parking lot out here. We've got cases of water, we've got fresh produce, we've got boxes of meals, these ready meals right here. They've got about 12 meals inside. They are loading up cars right now. We've got the National Guard out here, and for the last hour and a half since I've been out here, they've been loading up car by car. These cars are stretched down as far as I can see them in this parking lot, stretching down all the way to Reynolds Street. The line starts at Reynolds and 5th Street. We've got marshal's officers down there that are directing traffic for you. They've got a single file line right here, and I just say you gotta come out here and gotta wait for a little bit. But I can tell you one thing: the line out here looks nothing like some of these gas lines that some of you have been waiting in all week. But you can see it's very busy out here. Total 180 compared to whenever I was out here yesterday. And in addition to all of this around me, they've got a big potable water tanker truck out here that is waiting for you to come by and bring your jug so they can send you back home with fresh water. I have been asked to spread that word to all of you that that potable water tanker right there is sitting there ready for you to come up and go home with some fresh drinking water. All you got to do is bring your jugs there. But like I said, this parking lot is exploding right now. We've got cases of water, food, cleaning supplies, just a good variety of stuff out here. So you want to be sure and come on down to the old train depot parking lot off of Reynolds Street, and I can guarantee you that once you leave here, your car will be stocked full, ready to feed you and your family.
Hey, Sydney, that crew behind you has not been slowing down for interviews, but have you had a chance to speak with those Guard members, where they're from, what they're thinking about all this? And their attitude seems great. They are not slowing down.
No, they're not slowing down, Richard. I've been trying to talk with them, and it's kind of been me walking and running with them, asking questions myself too, because like you said, they have not been slowing down since I got out here. They're telling me that some of them have been out here since 11 a.m. They were at a couple other sites before they even came out here. But I was also talking with United Way. They were out here earlier today, and they said that this right here is one of the biggest distribution sites in the city. Again, this is the old train depot parking lot off of Reynolds Street, and they're going to be out here until around 6:30 this evening, and they'll also be back out here tomorrow, I've been told. Like I said, folks out here have been going non-stop out here. Like I said, they've been working while I've been talking to them. It's kind of been me just kind of hollering at them so I could get some answers out of them, just because I'm curious myself. But they are working non-stop to make sure that these families go home with fresh, safe drinking water and, most importantly, food as well.
Yeah, we'd love just to get some maybe some hometown so we could give them a shout out, because I know they're here from all over, and we appreciate that so much.
We appreciate them. So when you see the National Guard, when you see the line crews working, just give them a wave, a smile. We know that they're traveling from all over. We know they're away from their families too. Mm-hmm. Everyone has, their lives that they're living.
That's right.
So we really do appreciate them taking the time to do what they do. And it's not an easy job too, and it's really not the safest.
No telling what they left behind to come here to help us. So Sydney Hood, thanks very much for the live update there, right there along Reynolds Street. And tell us one more time how long you'll be doing that today before they cut things off.
I've been told they're going to be out here until around 6:30 this evening, so about 30 minutes before that 7 p.m. curfew here in Richmond County. But if you do miss that, they've told me that they'll be out here tomorrow. Wasn't really sure about a time there yet, but they did say that they will be out here tomorrow. I'll go ask them one more time if they know exactly what time they'll be out here. But honestly, if you just drive by this parking lot, you can't miss them. You've got truckloads, cases of water out here. Just look for the parking lot that kind of looks like a grocery store, and you'll be in the right spot.
That is a well-oiled machine right there.
There you go. You can't miss it too. And then again, that water tanker is still there for people that want to get that fresh drinking water. You just have to bring your own jug, your own container of some sort. Mm-hmm. Thanks for that, Sydney.
All right, so that was just a quick little dip into our live newscast. I'm speaking with our reporter who was following the Vice President Kamala Harris as she was touring Augusta today, and he just told me that we will not get the live video of her leaving Augusta, but we do know that that is happening right now around this time. She was headed back to the airport to leave, so Again, if you're just not joining us, we won't have any more video of that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. But if you're just now joining us, Vice President Kamala Harris visited Augusta today to tour some of the damage. She began at Augusta Utilities, where they briefed her on the damage here. And then she continued on where she spoke, and she gave a bit of a message, and she said, and she announced that President Joe Biden had approved Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's request for 100% of federal reimbursement of local costs. That includes debris removal, EMS services provided by the state, local costs for food, water, and shelter. So that is going to be amazing for those local communities and those local governments that are providing all of this relief. So again, she was on a bus tour in Augusta today. She is headed out of the state as we speak. And she really encouraged members of the community to go and get that assistance through FEMA that they are offering. She said FEMA also was going to be going door to door, making sure people had what they needed to be able to get those resources and apply for them. So before we wrap things up, I just want to go to our website one more time. This is going to be the FEMA article right here where you'll get the information. If you scroll down, you'll get the information on the phone number and the website where you can go to get that disaster assistance. And then we also have a version of the article in Spanish here for those who need it. Another important one I want to show you right before I wrap things up is, give me 1 second, this article that says free food and water, where to get it across the CSRA. This is going to be your best bet for looking at resources near you to see what's going on today, and then if we have any update, we're going to be constantly updating this. But these are where you can go get water, shelter, supplies that the local community is doing, and that's always changing, and we're always getting new dates. So and times and locations for assistance. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. The other thing today was Georgia Governor Brian Kemp was speaking in Thompson, looking at some of the damage done there. And he did say that FEMA right now has listed around 41 counties for their list of disaster relief. And he said he could see that being anywhere near 70 to 90, just with the devastation he's seen with his own eyes. So that happened today. And we also had Vice President Kamala Harris. And Joe Biden was also touring South Carolina, I believe. So lots of stuff happening today. But we've done about, I want to say, almost 3.5 hours of coverage on this. So I appreciate you guys for sticking with me during this time and going back and forth with so many things happening at once. Want to get you guys the most accurate information in the best timely manner. So appreciate you guys for sticking with me through that here at the News 12 Now desk. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up right now. So I hope that you guys have a great rest of your evening. Stay safe out there. Remember that curfew is to protect you guys if your county is undergoing a curfew right now. And just please stay safe. And if you want more information, we are live on our newscast right now. So go ahead and tune into that, and we'll be back with you a little bit later. So again, thanks so much for joining us and bearing with me during this really long stream. But we did have Vice President Kamala Harris here. We had Governor Brian Kemp speaking, some things with Joe Biden as well, and lots of updates. So hopefully we can all start to improve and see improvements in power and water. I know the city of Augusta is still under that boil water advisory, but hopefully we can all begin to recover over the next couple of days with this devastation that we've seen around us. So take care, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and tune into our later newscast where we'll have some more updates and some more things there as well. So again, thanks so much.